And coming to you live from Cleveland, Ohio in Barron's Castle, you're watching the Ghost in the Podcast on Rivalcast Media! Yeah! We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Sunday letdown or look up or however it is you want to phrase it. The Ghost in the Podcast right here on twitch.tv/Rivalcast Media. I am your host, Baron Von Gosu. She's the Baroness.
I love how your yell actually makes the glass in the room resonate with your voice when you do this on Sunday afternoons.
Well, that is because I am all shades of awesomeness, and all shades of awesomeness must be celebrated with the loudest and highest of volumes. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the weekend edition, or every edition. I'm sorry, I got a headache, so I'm not feeling so well. So anyway, welcome back to Ghost in the Podcast.
When do we not broadcast on Sunday?
Well, we broadcast on Friday too, but that would still be considered the weekend. Yes, we did our Friday the 13th special past Friday.
That's a special. That's not a true Ghost in the Podcast episode.
It counts as in the episode. It's now in the canon.
No.
Yeah, it is.
It's like
it is.
No.
And you need to talk into your mic. Your volume isn't very high.
Because I was yelling last week? Is that what happened? You adjusted me because I was screaming about...
No, it's because your microphone's 2 feet away from you.
My microphone is... There you go with
you're only speaking into half of it.
There you go with your man measurements again, because that's definitely 6 inches.
So you're saying that I'm actually not giving enough credit to the amount of... So that's actually a good thing if you come to think of it. So that way, if I say 8 inches, it's actually 10 because you have to add 2 because apparently
because you said 2 feet. 2 feet in actuality is 6 inches. So
I meant 2 inches, something like that.
You heard him. You heard him, audience.
I'm really not feeling well. Anyway, let's move on. Welcome to the Ghost in the Podcast. For those of you that might be new, we do a few different things here on our show. We are the show that is pretty much anything involving the horror and supernatural and paranormal and all fun stuff in both life and popular media. We have a drinking game that we play here on the show. The drinking game rules are pretty simple. If you come into the chat, either in our irc.quakenet.org, or you can also come into the Twitch chat here, get Baroness and I off topic for 7 seconds. We have to take a drink of our liquor / booze / whatever we feel like drinking this evening. And whoever is the lucky son of a bitch to get us off topic gets a point. Those points can later be redeemed for prizes at a later date. Or the exciting opportunity to join me for a Baron Bust Let's Play, which takes place every Thursday evening at 8 p.m. We've actually been doing the occasional Saturday afternoon as well, so we might be actually increasing the amount of Baron Busts episodes that we're going to be doing here in the near future. So there you go. This evening, don't forget to stay tuned after this show. We're going to be doing an RCM Community Gaming Nights. We're going to be playing PlanetSide 2. If you have the game, you're more than welcome to go ahead and join us in that. I do believe Farfield is airing this evening as well.
Yes.
Starring Sayomara, Porkchop, and Scott.
They're planning on starting around 10 Eastern.
Okay, I think they're going to start at 10 Eastern. And when I do have the Friday the 13th special posted, we watched the movie Leprechaun. I don't recommend it. Even with booze, it's still quite of a challenge. But we also had Sayomara and Scott from the Farfield join us as well as Edge and Killer McCoy, who joined me for all the special events. And we're actually thinking of expanding the Rift Track stuff to doing once a month. So doing one horror movie once a month where we go ahead, watch it, get blitzed, tanked. We also, we'll tell you the rules of the drinking game as well, so you can get blitzed and tanked. It doesn't always have
to be a horror movie. I'm just saying. There are
That's
plenty
the
of
theme.
things that we talk about and that we want to see as a group that we just never get off the ground because it's like, oh, we're doing this on Saturday.
If it's a Ghost in the Podcast sponsored event, it's a horror film. That's what makes it fun. I suppose we could do like really bad sci-fi if we would really want to go that far. Come on, even the ones that we're getting this off of never did anything other than sci-fi and horror films.
Manly Stuff says horror. I was promised horror. All right.
We're talking about horror right now. God, he's such a whiner. Just because he wins the first season of our drinking game, he thinks he can go ahead and call the shots now.
Sammy Asa writes, what does Baron mean? Hell if I know. All I know is I'm not watching Leprechaun again.
Well, and there you go. That's the first time. Next time we'll do Leprechaun in the Hood or something like that, which we would have done this time. We almost had our first spew alert, ladies and gentlemen. No, the first spew of the evening.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
10 minutes in, the first spew of the evening.
No Leprechaun in the Hood.
Why? What's wrong with Leprechaun in the Hood? That was Sayomara's original idea. If Netflix had it, that's what we would have watched. Instead, we had to watch the Jennifer Aniston pre-nose job classic. And I use the term classic, very, very, very liberally. Oh, God. All right, so what topics do we have on tap for you guys this evening? Well, we got a whole bunch here, and I like to read these off, even though they're very obviously posted here on the video here, because most of our listeners don't watch the video. Shame on them. They go ahead and listen to the download version that comes out later, which is just the audio. Also, don't forget, before I forget, we now are putting up the old video shows on YouTube as well. So if you've missed any episodes that were recently in the past 3 or 4 weeks, definitely check us out on YouTube. Just look for Ghost in the Podcast. You'll find them there. All right, so this evening we have a real-life horror story. This one made all sorts of front-page news, pretty much all over the place. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, all across the board about an interesting story that took place in Utah this past week. So we're going to talk about that one. Mortal Kombat has confirmed a couple characters that we were hinting about here on the show last week that were being rumored around. So we're going to go ahead and tell you what those are. I also posted on Twitter last night that I really hate Sony Pictures and everything they stand for. And this third one that I have listed here is the reason why. Ghostbusters 3 has more crap going on. More announcements that, of course, has driven all sorts of debate and screaming and yelling and people pounding their chests or whatever, parts that women go ahead and pound when they're angry. I don't know if it's their chest as well, but I don't know, Baroness, what do women pound when they're angry? Probably their men. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that as well. And pretty much,
probably true.
More than likely, you're going to get a rant tonight. So fair warning.
Oh, I was supposed to rant about something. Oh, no. You were going to rant because of, yes.
You forgot that I was supposed to be the one ranting?
I knew that somebody was going to be ranting. I just couldn't remember what the topic was.
Which one of us is pissed about something?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I even mentioned this to you last night. You're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, no, I was confused because I'd had that conversation with someone like a few days ago, and I thought it was with you, but it wasn't. It was actually with...
It wasn't with me.
Yeah, it was actually... Bio had sent me the link because he was interested in what you thought about it, and I was like, well, I haven't heard him rant about it yet, so I wasn't sure if he'd even seen it.
I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah, so somehow along the way I forgot to mention it to you, and so you were talking about it last night and just getting more and more agitated. I was like, but we had this conversation already.
Yes, and we hadn't. She goes, you even talked about this on the show. No, it just got announced 5 days ago. The last show was 7 days ago.
It's been a long week.
So we're going to go ahead and get into that as well. Biomed, you're going to get your wish. I'll definitely share my thoughts on that this evening. There's also been a new cast member confirmed for the new Evil Dead series that is called Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Dead Space 4. We're just going to leave that. Go ahead and dangling here. The Walking Dead spinoff has some news updates. Eli Roth is still battling to get his movie released. We'll tell you which one of the letdowns is going to be coming out. And then, of course, we have our After Hours, where I have an article I'd like to share since St. Patty's Day is coming up about my favorite beer of all time. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. And, of course, Party Fouls are optional, which Baroness already got very close to doing. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ghost in the Podcast. Those are your topics for this evening. Let's go ahead and get started.
You mentioned Leprechaun in the Hood.
What about it?
I mean, what about that wouldn't make me want to spew all over the laptop?
Yes,
really?
You were laughing when you almost spewed, and I found out the feedback is actually coming from here.
I was in shock and disgust is what that was.
Maybe it's coming from here. Okay, that seems to be a little bit better. That feedback is really irritating. All right. You know what? Everybody keeps telling me it's hilarious. I don't know if it's intentionally hilarious or not, but just hilarious.
I've seen parts of it. I mean, it's different. I'll give it that.
All right, let's ditch the headset so I actually have a little bit of room here to turn around and move about because I'm starting to go.
Well, yeah, once you start getting into, your rant,
I'm gonna need some room.
You're gonna need to not be connected by wires to anything because the next thing you know, you're gonna start seeing things moving around, and there's gonna be a crash that is not alcohol related, and then the show is just gonna be boom, done, and everyone's gonna be like, what?
I have to stretch. Last time I ranted, I got a crick in my neck.
That's true, you did. I had to hear about it for 3 days afterwards.
I think I popped a blood vessel too, but
you popped a couple of blood vessels. I could actually see your temples throbbing and your eyes just kind of like. Ugh.
But I did not die, so there's always a possibility.
I'm pretty sure your body's kind of has self-defense mechanisms in place, considering how much you drink during your Let's Plays and your movies.
Speaking of which, I don't even have a beer. I have a Snapple tonight. Oh well.
You should have shaken that before.
I never get tired of that.
What is the fun fact of the day from your Snapple?
All right, the Snapple fun fact. Yes, we're going to give them, I guess, some free publicity here. Franklin Roosevelt was related to 5 U.S. presidents by blood and 6 by marriage.
Well, yeah, because they're all in the same club. I mean, they kind of...
You didn't ask if it was a good fact. You just asked what the fact was.
My fact. Let's see if my fact is any better. I mean, that wasn't really...
I'm not going to hold my breath.
It cost the United States Mint 2 cents to produce and distribute a penny in 2012. Which is why they keep trying to get rid of the pennies, and, you know...
They haven't found a way to make that work yet. Eventually, it's going to make everyone play with plastic anyway, so it won't matter.
I'm totally okay with just playing with...
You're fine with...
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I'm completely okay with just, you know...
How does one pay with... I do it all the time, too, so I'm really not one to judge.
Money is but a distant memory. The currency of the world, and I maintain this to be true, will be kindness and cookies. And I shall rule.
Speaking of kindness and cookies, how was your week?
Pretty good, actually.
No funny stories? Nobody calling you a fake woman or calling you a racist or making up some kind of...
They were kind of sedate after last week because, well, I did get called out on a statement I made during Ghost of the Podcast last week. Surprisingly, not the statement "bitches be crazy." So I was expecting some kickback from that one, but no, I didn't get kickback from that. It was something else that I had said during that rant, but
which was
specifically I have very few female friends. There were a few people who caught that part of the broadcast. Didn't really catch much else in the broadcast, so I'm thinking one person heard it and then just kind of spread it around, and they took, you know,
but they took exception to that.
How
dare you not be friends with women? Bitches be crazy. That's why you're not friends with women. I'm sorry. The majority of women I've known in my life and have been friends with did not like other women because they're catty and bitchy, and this is their explanation, not mine.
They gave me evidence to disprove that statement, and I couldn't really argue with that. So it's like,
why? Because there's like two of them?
No. But anyway.
Are we talking about people that you hang out with outside of work?
Well, see, that was my argument. It was like, well, I haven't actually physically, you know, talked to you or whatever for, you know, an extended period of time. I don't consider Facebook stalking to be, you know, maintaining a conductive relationship.
Neither does the government. That's why it's called stalking.
So I was told that I have to work on that, but that, yes, I was a little erroneous and hasty in my statement of that.
So is this your?
But they agreed that bitches be crazy. So I mean,
so is this your backtracking now to go ahead and get some credit back here?
All I can say is, from time to time, even I am wrong about things, and when presented with why I am wrong about these things, yes, you heard it here. When presented that I am wrong and given evidence to that fact, I can admit that, all right, what?
8.5 years of a relationship and 2.5 years of a marriage would say
you're
still not good.
No,
you're still not good at admitting when you're wrong.
I'm not wrong when I tell you things.
Oh, you are.
No.
You are frequently.
No, because again, I can produce evidence to support and defend my claims, whereas you are like,
it's funny when you mention the word evidence, because your evidence happens to be conversations that never actually happened, or conversations like when you were bitching at me about the Ghostbusters thing. We already had this conversation. No, it didn't. I just found out about this thing. No, it happened right now, and I know it happened. And you're thinking about it and thinking about it. Oh wait, that was with bio. And then it's not like there's no acknowledgement that you were wrong. There's no, you know, subtle, graceful backing out that you're wrong. There's your face is flushing like right now. And then we just completely skip to it over to the next topic. So you keep going until you find something I actually did do wrong. Then you're all over my ass. Well, you know what? You didn't vacuum the floor today. Yes, but what does it have to do with Ghostbusters? Absolutely nothing. Why do you never clean around here? This place is a pigsty. And then the more and more I try to take the conversation back to talking about Ghostbusters, you just escalate all the further into why I didn't fucking vacuum the floor like I was supposed to, or why I didn't dust the cabinet, or why the China hutch has a little gimp to it, even though it was the cats that ran into it, not me.
Time out. Are you not wearing one of these on your finger? On your left finger? Right there?
Wait, you mean as long as I'm not wearing this thing?
Really?
As long as I'm not wearing this, I'm right? Is that what you're telling me?
Wow.
Men would never wear this again if that were the case.
You're not only sleeping on the couch, you better start moving your clothes down to the living room, because you are done, sir.
Yeah,
you are done.
We got a drawer down there. See, the price you pay, men, for being right. And again, see, the conversation is no longer about whether or not she can admit she's wrong. Now it's about the fact that I took the ring off to illustrate a point. See, this is how clever bitches are. You know what? We have a spew! There's liquid coming out. I can see it. It's glowing. It's reflecting the light off the ceiling.
Oh, no.
There it is. Look, you have a little bit of drool right here.
Now
See,
who's being
deflection at its best, ladies and gentlemen.
Now who's being
Bitches
a
be
fibber?
crazy.
Really?
Bitches be crazy.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's true. See, that's how clever they are. For all you single men out there who are interested in dating women, this is the kind of stuff you're going to have to pay attention to. How fast they can go ahead and change the topic back to when you screwed something up. Well played, madam. Well played. And now she's looking because she's trying to find another way to spin this to me being horrible.
I don't think I have to spin anything. I think the situation just spoke for itself.
The viewers and listeners know the truth. The
Thank
truth
you.
is out there, and we found it right here as it almost spewed itself all over your computer.
Yeah, right.
And mine.
Podcast listeners, I readily invite you to go onto our YouTube channel after this week's episode posts. It's usually a couple days after our air date, and review the evidence of this little marital spat. Because not only is he wrong, he is horrifically wrong in. Wow, I can't even think of the word I'm trying to use.
That's because there's no evidence to show. That's why you can't find anything. This is like the equivalent of trying to find the Black Dahlia killer. There's just nothing here to go on at all. Oh, she hates the fact I'm right. Anyway, you're like my clients whenever I'm right. See, you have chat open and I don't. This is where you have an unfair advantage.
God, why am I confusing the two of you? This is just bothering me.
Bio and I don't even sound or look alike.
God. I know.
Folks, go back and watch the On Tap episode from this past Friday, and you will see that Biomed and I look nothing alike.
Lord.
And sound nothing alike.
Lyserg's agreeing with you. Lyserg says, indeed, Baron bitches be cray-cray. Biomed writes, hashtag misogyner Baron. Make it a trend, people.
Oh, thank you, Mr. HR. Screw you too, pal. Just wait to see the buttons I touch tonight when you're going to have to fix.
Sammy Asa writes, Baron has a Snapple rather than a beer. Show's over.
Challenge accepted.
Sweet. Beer. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Baroness Hour. I am your host, the Baroness, where we're going to talk about how Baron is wrong for the next 63 minutes. I hear no protest coming from the... Ow!
There's your protest, man.
May I remind you...
There is your protest.
No.
What?
No.
What?
No.
What?
I didn't see
Yes.
you.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I didn't see you running out looking for that summer shandy for months on end and bring... Really?
No, but you are going to see me enjoy it.
Oh, you dick.
Oh, the fruits of someone else's labor
God.
taste so good.
Oh. Oh.
No, why would you do that? That's just me.
Because bitches be crazy.
You damn right, bitches be crazy. The fruits of your labor taste pretty damn good.
I swear to
and
God,
chilled.
if you backhand that over the soundboard, I'm just going to laugh and laugh.
That's why I'm putting it over there.
Oh, closer to my laptop. I see how it goes.
Yeah, so you can always see the how delicious it is from afar.
Biomed's writing, Baron's keyboard wants a drink. Chant it, chat.
I have a secondary keyboard here just for this reason, ladies and gentlemen, and a third backup keyboard right here on my other computer.
No,
so there you go. There you go.
The third backup keyboard is the one that will not type a capital R, as chat well knows.
But you know what? 3 party fouls later, and the damn thing is still kicking, and that is the only problem you have with that. That is fine craftsmanship right there, because it has been spectacular beer spilled on that thing that will go ahead and corrode an artery and a liver, but not this badass keyboard.
I had to have Lyserg type me just the capital R into chat so I could copy and paste it repeatedly as I was writing stuff for Rivalcast. Do you understand how difficult it is to get my work done when you have a name like Rivalcast Media with a capital R, but you can't put a capital R on the keyboard? Really?
Sounds like a personal problem.
Oh my God.
You have a laptop right there. Why you didn't go ahead and go and get it? That's on you, not me.
Because it was in OBS.
So what?
Oh my God.
So what? This is a wireless keyboard. Plug the
Still
little thingamabobber in, you're good to go.
No, you didn't have it at that point. Or
I've
if
had
you
this
did,
thing
you
for
were-
like 2 months now.
You were hiding it.
I've been using it to write my scripts for the
First time
new
I've actually
new show.
seen it in use, to be perfectly honest.
It's been down here for like the last 3 weeks.
Where?
Episodes 7, 8, and 9 have been written on this thing.
Well, then you keep moving it around whenever
I don't
you
move
go
it around. It
places.
stays right here.
Bullshit.
The farthest it moves is like a foot.
Really?
It's because the drawer's right down here. I'm blocking it in because I have to sit over here because of the camera.
Whatever.
Now, technically, Sam Mesa does not get a point because we haven't really started the drinking game yet. All right. Well, anyway, my week.
Sam writes 340,000 and forgot the letter R. That's true.
Makes me wonder what other kind of memories I would have forgotten by
and
now.
Manly writes a good point. You could have used the character map, Baroness. That's true. That's true. And now I'm tempted to character map all of the buttons to different things now just to fuck with you.
My payback,
I've done it before.
My payback
You know
and
it's
vengeance
true.
shall be swift.
Oh, it'll take you a while to figure it out. Oh.
There's more summer shandy out there. I'll just dump it out.
No, you wouldn't. because
Yes,
that's
I would.
No, that's
It's
alcohol
not Guinness.
abuse.
It's not a sin to spill summer
That's
shandy.
alcohol. Bull.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
It's not.
Oh,
Spilling a
wow.
Guinness is a sin. Spilling a summer shandy is vengeance. Because bitches be crazy, right? Relax, it's an empty threat. I wouldn't do it. I like it too much.
Remember what I said about the couch in the living room?
As you breathe tersely through your teeth.
The couch isn't going to be in the living room much longer. It's going to be on fire.
Don't
Make sure
you
are-
touch my couch, woman.
Oh.
Everything you hold dear, you will never see that new computer if you touch my couch. You will never see it. Ever. Well, that needs to be a shirt, says Biomed. Anyway, meanwhile, back on the farm.
What were we even talking about tonight?
Ah, fuck if I know.
Oh, wait, we have a list. There's a list over there. I can see it.
No, I had
at the
a
list.
I had a rather entertaining night at work on Friday. So speaking of bitches be crazy, so this girl calls up. I work part time at a retail store for video games. Oh fuck, I'll just say it. It's GameStop. I work one night a week, and we get this phone call at about 6 o'clock, and it's this woman who is either inebriated, stupid, or a little bit of both, who then asks, "What time you close?" We close at 9 p.m. And then there's this pause. 9:50? No, 9 p.m. 9. So it's not 9:50, right? No, 9 p.m.
Should have said
9?
9 o'clock.
That's what I
Just
eventually did say.
9.
After going around and around with this at first I thought I was being punked, but then the stupidness really came in because it was honestly, it was obvious she was clueless what the hell I was saying. 9 p.m. apparently is just not in the vernacular of some stupid people in the world. So I eventually did say, no, 9 o'clock p.m. So 9 o'clock. Yes, 9 o'clock. Okay, thank you. How do I hang up? Oh, okay. And then it just goes dead. And that was the start of my night. It was not the boobs, BO, and beer like last week was.
Boobs, beer, and BO, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
boobs, beer, and BO. As we were sitting up on Twitter and Facebook while we were at work, as well as listening to stupid pop songs I now can't get out of my friggin' head. Still can't get them out a week later. So yeah, that was pretty much my night. Just stupid people. Stupid people go into retail stores. I swear to God. Smart ones shop online anymore.
I know, right?
Jeez. All right, so anyway, yes, let's go ahead and get started on the horror stuff before we have manly stuff come up and say again, you're now at 5:28 and still no horror. So let's start with an easy one.
He's in a great deal of horror right now. Sammy Asa writes, he better take a picture of the bedroom so he can still remember what it looks like.
I have my couch, I'm happy.
The couch is going to be on fire.
A bedroom is wherever my couch ends up, so don't touch my couch. Because your basement is rather flammable too, just so you know. Anyway, our first topic this evening comes from kdramastars.com. Never heard of them before. But this is confirming that Mortal Kombat 10 characters Ermac, Smoke, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees have been added to the game release date set on March 2015. Of course, this is saying it's rumored, But it has been confirmed because BladeDiscussing.com was also reporting this as well, that Jason has definitely made the cut into the game.
Okay, but if you read that, though, didn't it say that they were having some issues with Jason?
That's what I'm scrolling down right now. They just have a bunch of pictures right now.
Because it was kind of confusing because it said it was confirmed, and then if you actually read through it, it's like they were having some issues with Jason. So I'm still kind of confused about whether or not he's actually going to be in there. If he is, I would be all about playing that game so that we could beat Freddy and Jason and fight each other.
Yes, because that's how every marital spat should be resolved.
I know, right?
To the games.
Think about how easy that would be. You know? Oh, you have a disagreement about something? Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat! The marriage edition.
Exactly. I'm all about this.
The finisher would be the lazy boy where I'm sitting in a recliner or something and pull out a beer and stab you with it or something. I don't know. Whatever it would be.
Clearly I would have to work on my console skills, but...
No, you wouldn't, because I just have the advantage. Says the guy who's like hasn't played a fighting game in probably 10 years.
Yeah. And I cheat.
Get D to teach you.
You remember when I was playing Mario Kart with Chase?
Yes.
My 6-year-old nephew.
That you had to cheat to beat him? Yes, I remember. First time you'd ever even touched that game before, and you had to cheat to beat him.
Well, okay, I didn't afterwards. The first one
go ahead. Try to save this one. I want to see you try to save face with this one.
The first one I definitely did because I didn't know what I was doing. So, he was legitimately in the lead until I, knocked him over because he's small and I can do that.
Not to mention she's covering his eyes. She's doing this on his controller as he's holding it. You're tickling him. Of course he's 6. He doesn't know that you're cheating. He thinks you're just being funny Aunt Jenny. No, you're cheating. I know you. You're flat out cheating because you're also like paused in the game real quick. So he's still rolling on the ground, like grabbing his stomach, like laughing, and then you quickly unpause it while you're still driving.
No, I paused it while he was.
And then you're like, "Jeez, if you touch that remote again, I'm gonna tickle you." As you knock his character into the side rail and over the cliff again into the lava for the third time.
I'm out. He wanted to be player 1, which I was totally okay with because he's 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be player 1. But the problem is because he's 6, player 1 is the one who actually sets up the game and gets it going. He kept smacking the buttons after the game was going and canceling it. So that's why I said, if you touch that button again, I'm going to take it away from you.
Yes,
that is a completely legitimate thing.
Yes, manly stuff. She is a sore loser.
No, we weren't even.
That was one time.
Yes.
You played with him for like an hour and a half, and it was the same thing every time. Oh, Chase, you got the lead. Hey, look at this. Look over here. Look out the window.
After a while, I was okay.
Why? What's out there, Aunt Jenny? And then you hit him with a shell.
He hit me with more stuff than I hit him.
That's because he's good. He's 6. He didn't have to cheat. He's 6. He doesn't care just as long as he gets to play.
You are being...
I mean, I'm not trying to screw over a 6-year-old, let alone one that I'm related to, that I see once in a blue moon, who's going to realize one day when he's 12 or 15 years old how much Aunt Jenny screwed him at Mario Kart and end up in an office working with somebody like myself because he has all these betrayal issues stemming from the rare relative that he sees once in a freaking blue moon. I'm sorry. That's on you, ma'am. You have to live with that. I don't. I got to sit there and watch this whole thing and tell him, Chase, don't listen to her. Chase, don't listen to her. But of course, it's Aunt Jenny. It's Aunt Jenny. So what do I know? I'm watching out for you, buddy. You're going to see this in a few years, too, and be like, wow, Uncle Scott, you're really standing up for me. You're damn right I am. I know what your aunt's like.
Nice.
I've been with her since before you were born, kid. The only one who was mean here was Baroness. Poor kids, his manly stuff. It's true. It's true. She really did screw over a 6-year-old to win at Mario Kart. The sad part is you still lost.
The first time. The first time. No.
Try as you will to cheat the 6-year-old. The computer is quite not so easily fooled.
Yeah, and how many times did I get all the way to the finish line? I'm like a foot away, and I just sat there and waited for him to catch up so that he could be the winner. Yeah, you don't tell
and then you knocked him out of the way at the last possible second and then beat him anyway.
No. He did that one time himself because he crashed and bumped into me, which shot me over the finish line, which was, I maintain, just absolutely hilarious because I was sitting there just waiting for like 5 minutes for him to catch up. And then at the last possible second, I'm like, yes, this game is going to be over. He's going to cross the finish line. He'll be happy because he's a winner. No. What's he do? He smacks the wall, bumps into my car, which then shoots me over the finish line. Game over.
That was after an hour and a half of screwing him over.
Video game physics.
He probably had a dream that night, sitting there in our living room playing games. And all of a sudden he stands up and he feels a pain in his back. And as he turns, he pulls his hand away to see a little bit of blood. And he turns to face where a camera would be if this were a video and says, "E2, Jenny?"
You evil prick. How dare you?
I'm the evil one. I'm the evil one. He's 6. Have you no decency? He was 6. E2, Aunt Jenny. She is now pacing the kitchen, ladies and gentlemen, shooting me the double deuce, and now walking to the basement to rage. E2, Aunt Jenny. All right, she's off and pacing now, so I guess we should probably get back on topic here and slowly coax her back, because this is a team effort. I'm not sick, so I know to watch out. Anyway, Mortal Kombat creator Ed Boon also teased fans that 2 iconic movie slashers, Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, will be in the game. Freddy Krueger was already a guest character on the previous Mortal Kombat game, along with God of War protagonist Kratos. Friday the 13th and Ataki Mask Jason Voorhees. This is like all over the place as far as their actual writing goes. We'll skip those. Game Guide reports that Ed Boon and NetherRealm Studios may consider adding Jason Voorhees of Friday the 13th to the game. And this is just a whole series of different updates. But from what I read, he has been confirmed he's going to be in the game. So that is good news, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are horror fans. And I think that puts us a step closer to having an actual fighting game with just horror character monsters. I would love to see that. And I've even drafted my own cast of people that I would put into the damn game. And it would be the first fighting game I'd actually willingly go out and buy just for this reason. Because who hasn't wanted to fight against other horror monsters and, had the debate of who would win, Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy or Pumpkinhead or Scream Dude, who would obviously lose to all of them because he's alive.
I have a request.
What?
For any devs that are out there that build the DLC. All right, so what I want to see for those little games would be vampires. Like specifically, you could have Dracula fighting Edward from Twilight. Now, obviously, Edward would have to be an NPC because no one would want to actually play him as their character.
His special power could be like a UV light hits him and he starts sparkling and blinds everybody.
That would actually work, but I still can't see anyone in their right mind actually wanting to go into this game going, "Oh yeah, I want to be Edward because, that's definitely how I identify." No, I want to see, Dracula fight him and just kick his ass because that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Have an actual vampire do it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a character, just take on Edward, that would be amazing too.
You realize that the fans of Twilight probably like Buffy too.
Fans of Twilight aren't going to be watching our show, sweetheart. I hate to break it to you.
Well, not after our reenactment of the entire Twilight saga in 30, what was it? Twilight saga in 10 seconds or less.
That was one of our most popular episodes, as a matter of fact.
It was. For that whole segment.
Exactly.
God, I can't even remember which episode that was. That was a good one.
I still get comments about that one. I will never forget that. He was so spot on.
Of course I was. It's not hard. God. All right, and speaking of devs, this one comes from bloodydisgusting.com. Alien Isolation dev is now hiring for their next game. So, ladies and gentlemen who are interested in doing gaming development, if you've got a resume worth sending, this is where you're going to want to send it. The makers of one of the greatest horror games of 2014, Alien Isolation, are hiring for their next project. As the scroll button went a little too fast for me there. I got to go back up. This laptop spilled a couple beers on it, and all of a sudden it wants to have a mind of its own. Little drunk adult mind. But anyway. No, now what are you doing? Stop that.
You liberated its processor, and now it has seen the greater world.
Great, it's my own Frankenstein.
I will crush you! You were talking about Guinness earlier, now that's what it wants.
It's alive! It's alive!
All right, anyway, anyway, this might not be a sequel to Alien Isolation, but it might be. It's not been confirmed. In a listing for an online multiplayer programmer, the studio confirms that this project isn't another Total War game, so at least that's something. And here's a quote. "We're seeking a talented programmer who has thorough experience developing a range of online features," the ad explains. "We are creating another multi-platform AAA blockbuster, and the successful applicant will be part of a team which allows our game experience to be shared." The listing was spotted on z-giochi.com. And while I'm hesitant to get excited about the possibility of follow-up to one of the scariest games, blah, 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 blah. Are you looking for it so you can post it?
It has a little frowny Lego guy on it.
That's because the my Adobe Flash is being a bitch.
Crashed! No, I'm trying to see what your website thing was, but I can't. Move your cursor down.
Cursor is down.
Z-Giochi.
Yep, .com.
Giochi!
So for those of you that are interested in doing gaming development or have looking to try to get your big break in it, this is your chance. Go ahead and go to their website here and go ahead and apply. And if you get in, let us know. And obviously we'll be expecting you to be our big leak of inside information. So there you go. See? We help each other out here. We help you find the job. We give you the listing name, and you go ahead and tell us everything we need to know. The reason we're going to do articles first is because I think the two topics that we have, the real-life horror story and the Ghostbusters thing, are going to take up the most amount of time.
That horror story is just, gives me the creeps.
You know what? And there's a reason I'm watching Paranormal Witness, because it reminded me of an episode on there, and I found it, which also, you know what? We'll get to that. We'll get to that, because I don't want to spoil that yet. I think it's going to be a longer conversation.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on. This one is not a topic that I listed, but I still think it's pretty interesting, so I just want to mention it real quick. The Sega Genesis just got a new horror game. Yes, that's right, folks, the Sega Genesis.
Wait a minute. I remember the Sega Genesis.
It's been out of print for over 18 years.
Yeah.
Came out 25 years ago. People, every so often, they still release new games for it. Like independent developers do that. Don't know why, but they have a game trailer up here. It's on the Bloody Disgusting's website. Let me see what the title of it is again. It is called Sacred Line Genesis. Sacred Line Genesis. The trailer here is just a few quick flash scenes, so there's not really a whole lot there, and a pretty interesting digitalized skeleton that's pixelated because, again, it's a 16-bit system. So, yep, they have a new 16-bit horror game that just came out for the Sega Genesis. So if you still got it, pull it out of the closet or go up to your nearest game exchange or whatever it is you have near you and buy one, because it looks pretty interesting. It's, I think, $33, and the listing for the website is on the same place that you will find the game trailer. So if you want to go ahead and order it, there you go. So let's knock that one out of the way. All right. Let's go to Visceral Games would like to revisit Dead Space. Here's the Dead Space 4 thing. Again, this is another really short article. I feel like I've written this story before, probably because I have. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Visceral Games, once Battlefield Hardline comes out, that comes out this Tuesday. I know they're doing a midnight release at GameStop. They are looking at doing the next big game after that, and one of the biggest rumors is Dead Space 4. Now, this article goes on to have a small little interview bit with the guy who's pretty much the head of things over there. He doesn't confirm or deny it, but he does say it's something that they're looking at. It is one of the games they're considering. So take from that what you will. This kind of stands out to me because just the other day I was talking to somebody who came into the store and was asking about a possible Dead Space 4. If there's any news on it, any rumors on it. So there's obviously an interest out there. I've only played the first one, and I was never overly impressed with it, to be honest with you. I know that's probably committing a gaming sin when you come to, knocking down Dead Space a little bit. But I didn't come to it until probably several years after the first one had already come out. So I had all that hype built up, all that excitement, and it was just, I don't think there was really any real way to live up to it. So right now, it's not really a news break, but it's pretty much just, it's rumor. We'll see where it goes. Okay, next one. See, we're just going to shoot through these crappy ones and then get to the good ones. All right.
Do that. I'll be right back.
Blood Disgusting also has something on Ash versus the Evil Dead. Specifically, a new cast member who has joined it. Now, this is somebody that has worked with Bruce Campbell many times before. Helped get him his own spin-off TV show years and years ago. She did have a guest spot in Burn Notice. She played a villain for an episode. Yes, it is a she. I'm trying to see how long I can go before people start guessing who this person is going to be. Supposedly, they are real life, very good friends. I don't think she's really been up to much lately, but this is kind of some big news here. Lucy Lawless will be hunting Bruce Campbell in Ash versus the Evil Dead. That's right, Sam Raimi's Ash vs. the Evil Dead just made a huge addition to its growing cast, naming Lucy Lawless in the role of Ruby in the Starz original series.
Good friend of Bruce Campbell, too.
Mm-hmm, exactly, they're very good friends.
From the days that he had a bit part on her show,
and
Xena Warrior Princess!
And then got a spin-off Jack of all trades. Mm-hmm. And then she was also in Burn Notice. He got her that job.
Mm-hmm. So see, folks, it pays to have friends and interconnect. This is a good thing.
Exactly, and I always thought she was an underrated actress. I mean, she is.
Oh, yeah.
She gets typecasted for a long time
Although,
as Xena, and understandably
To
so.
be
but
fair, when we watched Xena, I was always more identifying with Gabrielle. So yeah.
I never really watched it. I
Really?
watched a little bit of here and there. I didn't start watching it until I found out Bruce Campbell was on it. Because that was
I
like
can see that.
That was shortly after Briscoe County Jr. went off the air, which I was a huge Briscoe County Jr. fan. You know, who wasn't if you're a Bruce Campbell fan. But what really convinced me that she had acting chops is she would play these roles and I had no idea who she is. But like, who is that? She's really good. You go look her up. It's like, holy shit, it's Lucy Law. It's fucking Xena. How the hell did she become such a good actress? Because, you know, Xena Warrior Princess, female empowerment, get sexy in a short little outfit, go kick some ass, look good doing it. And, I mean, it's not like the demand for that show is all that much. Same with Hercules.
That and they dyed her hair black, so she looks completely different on that show than she actually does in most other things that she does. Because she's naturally, like, a very light blonde.
And that threw me out in Burn Notice.
Yeah.
Because it was this blonde woman. It's like, who is that? And holy shit, it's Lucy Law. And she's smaller than I thought. Because in the movie, on this TV show, she always seemed like she was taller. You know, because she's pretty much like this Amazon chick. It's like, no, she's actually like pretty normal height for women. I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, Ruby, her character, is described to us as a mysterious figure who is myopic in her quest to hunt down the source of the recent evil outbreaks. The only problem, she believes Ash is the cause of it all. Bruce Campbell will be reprising his role as Ash. This is the quick just breakdown, the advertisement for it. Will be reprising his role as Ash, the stock boy, aging Lothario, and chainsaw-handed monster hunter who has spent the last 30 years avoiding responsibility, maturity, and the terror of the evil dead. When a deadite plague threatens to destroy all of mankind, Ash is finally forced to face his demons, personal and literal. Destiny, it turns out, has no plans to release the unlikely hero from its evil grip. And then it goes on and mentions some of the other casting, some of the other sidekicks that he's going to have. We've covered that in previous episodes, so we're not going to go through that again. But I think it is very exciting to see her get a bigger part because she's only done little bit parts here and there. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And the more and more news I hear about the Ash versus the Evil Dead, I just cannot freaking wait for it. Nerdgasm all over the freaking place. Cannot wait. As soon as Baron said her, I knew who it was, says Lyserg. Manly Stuff is agreeing that Dead Space did kind of suck. Yeah, it didn't live up to expectations. That's true, Manly Stuff, referring to Dead Space. It didn't, but the third person shooters have to be done a really certain way to be successful, and Dead Space just wasn't all that fun for me. And Biomed's like, Lucy Lawless could pull that off. The last thing I saw her in was Battlestar Galactica's Remastered. She was also in, oh God, what's it called? The song that Scotty doesn't know came from. Oh, Eurotrip. She played an interesting part in Eurotrip, too. Still get phone calls every so often. Anyway, what are you doing, Baroness?
I'm double checking something for our haunted travelogue for later.
Gotcha. When do you want to do that about? Do you want to do it after our big conversations?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm not really...
Alrighty. Anyway, that's usually something we hammer out before the show, but fortunately I didn't get around to it ahead of time this time.
Well, I was kind of distracted by,
So let's go ahead and not do the last few articles. We'll leave those to the side for now. Baroness, I will give you the choice. Do you want to go real life horror story next, or do you want to go into Ghostbusters next? I'm curious to know if people are waiting for the rant, but I kind of want to make them wait a little bit longer because I don't know if it's going to be that good of a rant.
Oh, if it's halfway close to the simmering boil under your skin that I witnessed the other night when you were reading this article for the first time, it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, but I've had a night to ease into it. Like when I made that post on Twitter, I was ready to go. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wouldn't have made a whole lot of sense to click over onto Twitch, do my rant, and then get offline real quick, and people are like, "What the hell is that all about?" There's this weird guy. He just comes on his Twitch channel every so often. He rants for like 5 minutes about anything, and then just goes offline. It's the damnedest thing. I have an idea.
And thus the RCM2 channel was officially born.
Well, that would be hilarious, though. People could just like randomly come into our channel and just every so often, just so this weird, crazy guy comes in, just does a rant about how horrible Ben Affleck is, or how the Spider Master Race is trying to take over everything, or God knows what, and then just goes offline after 5 minutes. And you never know when he's going to come on. You never know what he's going to do it. So you got to constantly tune in to see. I like this idea. I like this idea a lot.
Well, they can get the Twitch alerts, you know. Baron von Gosu is online right now. Get there, get there, get there.
Yeah, but then they click over. They go through the advertisement. And I'm already halfway through my rant. I mean,
Yeah.
But think about how cool of a string it would be to put all those together later in like a long video. Just like an hour and a half of me nonstop ranting about various topics. The most anger you can cram into an hour and a half.
That's beautiful.
I like that idea. All right. Screw it. Let's do the real life horror story first. All right. So I have two articles. Both these articles are about the same event. But some give a little bit different details than the other one. So this first one I'm going to read from you was printed by foxnews.com. CNN also had a very similar write-up. I think they both got theirs from the Associated Press, so I don't think it's going to be too big of a difference between the two. But anyway, Utah police officers say mysterious voice called to them to rescue a baby trapped inside a car. So that is your title going into it. All right, so here we go. 4 police officers rushing to an overturned car in an icy Utah river say that they heard the same thing. A mysterious female voice calling out for help from inside the vehicle. But the driver of the car was dead, and her 18-month-old daughter, while still alive, couldn't have been the speaker. It was a mystery that continues to haunt the officers and may never be explained. Officer Jared Warner of the Spanish Fork Police Department was one of the first who came to rescue tiny Lily Grosback, I'm assuming that's how you say the name, who was strapped in a seat in the back of her mother's car, which was precariously hanging upside down in 40-degree water. We've gotten together and just talk about it, and all 4 of us can swear that we heard the same thing inside the car, someone saying help, Warner told the Desert News. But when they flipped over the mid-sized car, they discovered a 25-year-old woman dead in the front seat and Lily unconscious in her car seat. The only person in there was the deceased mother and the child, Officer Brian DeWitt told the paper. Officer Tyler Betos said that they can't explain it, but have no doubt that they heard it. It wasn't just something that was just in our heads. To me, it was plain as day because I remember hearing a voice, Betos told the Desert News. I think it was DeWitt who said, we're trying our best to get in there. How do you explain that? I just don't know, he said. Nobody knows exactly how the infant survived hanging upside down for nearly 14 hours in her car seat with no food or water. As she dangled, icy water rushed just below her head through broken car windows as the vehicle sat perched on the bank and rocks. The temperatures were near freezing throughout the night and through the morning. It's heartbreaking. She was crying most of the night, said Betos, a 30-year-old father of 2. It's a miracle. She was needed for sure elsewhere. Police believe the accident occurred when the baby's mother, 25-year-old Lynn Grosback, struck a cement barrier on a bridge and careened into the river late Friday in Spanish Fork, about 50 miles south of Salt Lake City. She was driving to her home in Springville after visiting her parents in Salem, Spanish Fork Police Lieutenant Matt Johnson said. Ooh, in Salem. I know it's not that Salem, but investigators don't know what caused the crash, he said. There was no skid marks or signs of mechanical failures in the car. Police don't suspect drugs or alcohol as a factor, but are awaiting toxicology test results. Maybe Lynn Grosbeck was tired or distracted, Johnson said, adding authorities weren't ruling anything out. Betos said the family has thanked them and the other officers for helping to save little Lily. As he recalls the events of those chaotic moments on a frigid but sunny day, Betos still can't believe the girl survived, and still can't make sense of the undeniable voice coming from the car. We all got together and we all heard the same thing, Betos said. We just can't grasp what we're hearing. So that's the first article. Now we're going to go to the second one. This second article was actually sent over by a Biomed Alchemist within about 10 minutes of me finding the first one. All right, this one is from KUTV.com. Top story, baby who survived car crash in Utah River is getting better. I'm going to skip that earlier part and go to this part. It's Spanish Fork rescuers saved baby 13 hours after crash that killed mother. As Officer Jared Warner dashed with the 18-month-old in his arms to an ambulance, she was barely alive. But she's doing better, doctor said on Sunday. When Warner heard that, the policeman looked close to tears. His voice was faltering. There's probably nothing more gratifying than to know that, he told CNN affiliate KUTV. Lily's mother, Lynn Jennifer Grosbeck, died in the crash that had landed their car on its roof in the Spanish Fork River. She was 25 years old. Lily might have died unseen with her mother had a man not gone fishing in that particular spot Saturday. The angler waded into the river around noon, then noticed the car wheels up in the water. Where the car was, you couldn't see it from the roadway, Police Lieutenant Corey Slaymaker said. The fisherman then called emergency dispatch. Police and fire rescuers arrived and sprang into the water. The rest of what happened is now a frenetic blur, but Officer Brian DeWitt says, I don't remember anything but just doing it, he said. The water was so cold that when the rescue was over, 7 of the men involved had to be treated for hypothermia. They heaved the car onto its side and saw Grosbeck in the driver's seat. It was clear to them that she was dead. Then they noticed the baby. She was definitely unconscious and not responsive, Warner said. But she was still alive, and rescuers were delighted to see it. Then the baby was trapped for 14 hours. She was still strapped into her car seat, where she would have been for 14 hours. The night before, a man living nearby heard a loud crash and stepped outside to check, but he didn't see anything unusual, police said, and dismissed it. And skipping down a little bit more. How did the baby survive? Grosbeck's death is tragic, but the survival of the baby is a story filled with hope. But just how did the baby survive the ordeal? Above all, said CNN senior medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen, the biggest factor was the car seat. Lily was in the proper car seat, and the seat appears to have been properly attached. Even though the child was trapped and upside down, her body remained in the seat and above the frigid water. Doctors say that such low temperatures are dangerous, but would it be even more so if the baby were wet? No, duh. Trying to get down to the part where they mention. Now it gets to the point of the rescuers hearing the voice. A mystery arose from the rescue. The 3 police officers who entered the water all say they heard a voice calling for help. The mother was dead, but the officers told CNN affiliate KSL that they heard an adult's voice calling to them. It felt like I could hear someone telling me I need help, DeWitt told KSL. It was very surreal, something that I felt like I could hear. Warner said he heard the same thing. It wasn't just in our heads. To me, it was plain as day. I remember hearing a voice that didn't sound like a child, just saying, help me. Tyler Bidos, the 3rd officer of the scene, said the same thing as well. Someone said, help me inside the car. And then it goes on to mention there's no skid marks and no real way that they can know what the hell just happened. So, Baroness, what do you think happened?
What do I think happened?
What do you think happened?
I think somebody crashed a car and saved their kid.
So you think it was the mother that was doing it, even though she was dead?
Who else would it be?
Guardian angel? Who knows? Who knows? That's the mystery. We don't know who said it. Now, the implication is probably it was the mother, even though she's dead. So then the question is, if she's dead, how did she do it? Oh, fuck. We all know how we did it. We all know what this show's about.
What was that look? That was just very odd.
I have no idea. I have a headache and I've been drinking. But anyway.
Yeah. I know you've been drinking.
This reminded me of a story. Unsolved Mysteries was a big show I used to watch when I was a kid. Unsolved Mysteries, for those of you that don't know, obviously you're really young. It was a TV show where they would do all sorts of different mysteries, and it wasn't always just paranormal stuff, but it would be like murder mysteries or people who disappeared. It was kind of like a procedural type show where they investigated just things that there was never an answer for. And at the end of it, they'd always put up information and try, if you had anything or had seen anybody or knew anybody, call and let them know, and they would go to the various police stations that were involved. But every so often, they would do a paranormal themed one, like a ghost one. And there was one episode where there was a car accident where a woman was driving with her baby, and they drove over a cliff. And they was down there for like 20 some hours, and the mother had died.
Ravine, if I remember
yeah,
right,
down in the ravine, and the mother had died right away. So what ended up saving the baby is after 20 some hours, there was this couple that was driving down this roadway, and they see a naked woman laying like half on the ravine, half onto the road. And she's like reaching out for the car and like calling to them. They still, they said stark naked. So they quickly swerve, worried that they're going to hit her.
God damn it! Really? That's my laptop, you ass!
And I did it again.
Oh.
Twice. Anyway, party foul. Gotta finish it now. So anyway, they're driving by and they see this naked woman that's laying half out of the ravine, half out. And so they stop and they go to the edge and they see that there's a car that's crashed down there. So they go walking down the ravine.
It's dripping.
And sure enough, they find the car down there, and they find the baby down there is still alive, still in its car seat. And what was...
Stop. Just stop what you're doing. Continue what you're talking about. Let me take care of this.
I can do both.
No, because you're flicking water towards the microphones.
As long as it's just water. Anyway, so what was surprising about it is I then remembered that there was this TV show that came on Sci-Fi Channel a little while ago called Paranormal Witness. And we've talked about the show a long time ago, probably in the beginning parts of Ghost in the Podcast, where it's similar to the Unsolved Mystery stuff, but they do a bunch of reenactments too, as well as interview people. And they did this exact same story with the car careening down into the ravine and the naked woman that's half, on the ravine, calling out for help. Except now they also interviewed the kid who was in the car at the time, and it's now a full-grown adult. Because this is like, 18, 19 years later. And he remembers, because he was about 3 or 4 at the time, he said, I remember seeing this light, and I remember, I remember seeing something. I forget exactly how he described it, but he had a very vague memory of being rescued and of seeing something happen before his rescuers came and found him. And as soon as I read this, I went and I tried to find that episode again of Unsolved Mysteries with no success. Unfortunately, the only way to get that now, I think, is on DVD because YouTube had almost nothing for it, which was really freaking irritating. And unfortunately, the DVD is not exactly easy to track down either. So then I went and I pulled up Paranormal Witness because I had it saved on my Amazon account, and I rewatched the episode, and it sounds extremely familiar to this one, where again you have that car crash. The car is upside down, it's trapped somewhere, and the kid is rescued by a woman either calling out to them or appearing to them, and so they go ahead and rescue the child. And I just think it's just so eerie how similar the two stories are. Did you ever watch that one when Unsolved Mysteries like years and years ago?
There have been several stories very similar to that over the years. One of the more recent ones, I'm trying to remember. I know I saw it recently, but I don't remember where I saw it. I read a lot of stuff, but it was a similar situation where it was an older kid actually, but it was the family was out and about. There was an accident. They were in a station wagon, and the kid was ejected from, he was like 14, 15 years old, so it was an older kid, but got ejected from the car, and they couldn't find, him immediately. And when the rescuers got there, they saw a man pointing in a direction. What had happened was it went off-road. When the kid got ejected, he hit, and then he went rolling down a hill. So he was alive, but he was like very, injured. When the rescuers got there, they saw a man who was pointing, in the direction they went down, but then they found the kid, but then they couldn't find the guy who was pointing, them out. So, similar thing, but...
Well, and it was hard not to bring this up when I was guest hosting for On Tap this week, because you had, since it was Friday the 13th, we had, you had a lot of paranormal themed questions, and we were talking about, paranormal experiences and things that we would have seen. And it was hard not to mention this one and talk about it because it was so fresh in my mind, and it really got a lot of things rolling as far as, what I believe. And if you want more details on the specific stuff of what we believe and everything else, definitely go back and check out that episode. But it's just, it's one of the questions was that we had raised, when we were having this discussion was, how do we know paranormal stuff is out there? Like, what does science have to say about all this stuff, or what do we believe versus what science says? And it just kind of blossomed from there. And when you have experiences like this, where you have 4 different individuals who are cops saying that they heard the same exact thing, it's hard to go ahead and just discount that. Because when you have 4 people that are in one location, even when we do our ghost hunts, when we do the Orb Fests, which we also have coming up again in June, the reason we always go someplace in groups is A, for safety, but B, is so if something happens, there's somebody else there to corroborate it. Because it's a lot easier to experience something fantastic with a fellow witness who experiences it too than it is to be on your own and have to go ahead and explain this to somebody. Think about, this would probably make back page news, if it even made the news at all, if there had just been one officer there or one person who had heard the woman or had heard the screaming and the yelling, or the woman yelling for help. But this wasn't that case. This was 4 people, 4 officers who you can believe are trained to notice things that are out of the ordinary, and they're all corroborating the same thing. And these are people that are, told or trained on how to go ahead and handle witnessing accounts, how to take statements, how to give statements, how memory can be fuzzy at times. So these are not exactly people that just can kind of half-ass this thing. And the sincerity when you actually watch these interviews on these news stations, it's really hard to just discount it as being something that's just, it's just nothing. And yes, it's exciting that this little girl was rescued. And yes, it's exciting that, she's going to live to see another day despite what happened to her mom and the horrible tragedy involved. But let's be honest, the fact that these 4 individuals experienced this kind of event is also a big part of the story too. And it also opens up the question again, what does happen after life, if anything? And I know there are a lot of people out there say, well, nothing, this is just a fluke, this is just something weird, it's some kind of shared delusion. And maybe those things are true, but I'm not buying it. I am not buying it. I kind of agree with you. If it wasn't the mother, what about a guardian angel? If we can say that there is possibility of an afterlife, if we can say it's possibility of ghosts, then is it not also possible we could throw out the idea of guardian angels?
It's possible. I mean, I can't say it's not possible because I can't disprove that, but I don't know. My gut is saying, you know, it would definitely be the mother, because the mother, that kind of bond transcends so much. So I mean, that a mother's first instinct is going to be, you know, generally speaking, is going to be, you know, protect that kid no matter what. So death doesn't really matter, really, in this case, because, you know, the kid was still in danger. And if there is such thing as, you know, if there is something in the after, you know, the body dies, then that bond is still going to be there. So
there's that. Also the possibility of residual. Because we don't know if the mother died right away after the accident. You have you have a huge emotionally charged moment, and I think somebody dying is pretty emotionally
residual
charged.
hauntings don't work that way, and you know it. Residual haunting would be like,
it could have been the perfect scenario.
Okay, but let me finish. Residual hauntings would be like, you know, the neighbor who heard the crash periodically hears that crash over and over again and sees, you know, something down in the river. That's a residual haunting. What you're describing, what happened here, if it was a haunting, is a very intelligent one. It's not residual. It's not a place memory. It's, you know, something took place, something needed to happen. That's why it was back.
Yes, but I think it is possible that words spoken or something being screamed can also be a residual haunting as well.
No.
Because and here, this is why I throw this out. There was an episode of Sightings, old show that I used to love, and they were doing EVPs, and this is back in like the early 1990s when, you know, the ghost hunting shows were brand spanking new. They did one. They went into this old battleship that had breached and sank.
True.
During World War II, and they caught an EVP of something exploding, water rushing in, and then people screaming and yelling for help and dying. And again, they're showing this on camera, this room where you're in, and there's nothing there. I mean, it's a dead silent, pitch black room. I mean, there's enough light where you can see like the outlines of the walls. But that's where they got in that room when there's nothing going on. So I think that is feasible that it could be residual.
It could.
The circumstances, okay, I'll give you the circumstances. It might not be.
The circumstances show it implies anyway that it was intelligent. Now, if you were to go back and investigate the spot over and over, and you started getting, you know, the crash and the moans or the help or whatever, then I would say, okay, that could be a residual haunting. But the way that the circumstances are presented does not indicate a residual haunting. It indicates an intelligent one, which is very different, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, that's your point. Manly Stuff is throwing out a crazy theory. Little girl invents time travel and travels back in time to communicate to police to save her. What do you think about the...
That would indicate that she would have lived to that point to begin with, so...
Yeah, that would be kind of a time paradox there.
She wouldn't be around to create time travel to send the people back to save her. That doesn't really work.
Unless it's like a Terminator theory where something gets sent back in time to kill her at that precise moment, and then she's sent back to go ahead and prevent it, or goes back to prevent her own death. If we want to get really, really crazy out there with the time travel theory, which I think we can both agree is not what we're dealing with here.
Just saying.
But if it were, that would be how you get around the time paradox. It'd be like the Terminator syndrome. Somebody gets sent back in time to wipe her out because she does something important with her life, and she goes back, or somebody she knows goes back to prevent it.
All right. Sammy Issa says, rule number one of time travel, Manly, is don't tell others about time travel. As soon as you do, everyone wants to save Kennedy or kill Hitler.
No, I'd want to save the little girl who could have been saved but wasn't, because you never know what they're going to do. Anyway, I agree. I think it was definitely something that was going on that a lot of people are just going to roll their eyes at or just think, you know, it makes for a nice story, but it's not true. But it is. And these four guys are going to have that memory for the rest of their lives. And hopefully this little girl, whoever it is, will have, you know, she's 18 months old, so she's too young to actually develop memory yet. That's still a couple years off. But hopefully she at least gets some kind of good feeling about it, or I don't know, something good comes of it for her as well, other than the fact that she survived it, because she did just lose her mother. And like you said, if the bond was that close and her mother was that close with her, that bond is now gone. Or not gone, the mother is gone. The bond will always be there, obviously.
That's what I'm getting at.
But the question becomes then, how did the accident happen?
How do many car accidents happen?
Paul, but the things that you usually look for aren't there. They don't believe she was intoxicated at all, although they haven't finished the test with that based on the news story. There were no skid marks.
There are no skid marks, which means she didn't see the thing that she ran into, which means all she could have done is veer off the road and smack into this thing at a high rate of speed. I mean, that's not that hard to figure out. You know, whether she fell asleep, whether she was, whatever, doesn't really matter. I mean, what happened is she was going at a certain rate of speed, veered off for whatever reason. Obviously, she didn't see the thing that she hit, or else there would be skid marks, and then just plowed right through it.
All right, I'm going to throw out crazy theory number 2. I don't think for a second this is real, but I have to play devil's advocate because it is a possibility.
Okay.
What if the mother did it on purpose? It is not. There's news stories. There's news stories all the time of parents that do things like this.
I'm recusing myself from this argument because I find it ridiculous.
All right, fair enough. Then we won't have this argument. Like I said, I don't think for a second that's what actually happened.
Even if it was, then that completely negates the idea of help me and saving the kid.
Not necessarily. Because there still could be other things that could explain that. Again, I go back to my guardian angel philosophy.
Like what?
Again, I go back to my guardian angel philosophy. The idea that something is watching out for you, has your best interest in mind, something that will stand by you no matter what, I don't think that's necessarily crazy. Likely? Probably not. I'll give you that. But if you want to talk about possibilities, why not? Even let's take the whole mother doing this on purpose out of the equation. Let's just say the accident happens. Okay, accident happens
That's
regardless.
all you can really say is an accident took place.
Right, so we'll go with that.
Your extrapolation is just...
It's for the sake of conversation. Relax. I'm not trying to imply this woman did anything on purpose. It's just for the sake of conversation. For the sake of what if, because we really don't know. So let's take all that out and let's just acknowledge accident happened. I still don't think that necessarily undoes the argument that there could be something else that's out there watching. Because again, if you can acknowledge the possibility of the paranormal, if you can acknowledge the possibility that we or some facet of us exists beyond our life, then to me, it is not impossible to think that there could have been another individual out there existing in the same form as a ghost mother, or another form that's either more angelic, if you will, could have been out there looking out for this kid's best interest.
Okay.
That is my point.
That I can buy into. It doesn't necessarily have to be the mother, because you can't prove whether it was or wasn't. But if you accept the possibility that it could be the mother, you have to accept the possibility that it could be something else as well. I get that.
And Missing is saying that the child could have been crying. Mother could have turned around to glance back in the seat or done something and then accidentally turned the wheel. That's possible as well. That is very possible too. And we might never know. But no matter what happened, the good news is the girl survived. Bad news is mother died. And something was looking out for her. Whether it was mom, whether it was something else more divine than that, or whether it was another ghost. Who knows? We'll never know. But at least the kid has in the shot. And again, the reason to talk about this article, it's not really a horror story per se as much as it's a real life paranormal one. But again, it just throws out the possibility. What is out there? What do we really know? And the truth is, in my opinion, we don't know much. We think we do. We think we know a lot more than we probably actually know. So there you go. That would be all I'm throwing out there. All right, so let's move on. All right, let's move on to something a little more fun. Come on, computer, catch up to me. Okay, that's for the after hours. That's for the after hours. All right, so let's change topics here. Let's get into Ghostbusters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, for those of you that have watched the show for a long time, I have not been excited about Ghostbusters 3. I was not excited about it when Harold Ramis and Daniel Aykroyd and the rest of them were looking to do it themselves. I was even less excited about it when Peter Figg came on board and shared his philosophy of doing an all-girls Ghostbusters team. And my excitement and interest and everything just kind of downgraded from there. Every single passing day, it seemed to get more and more bad news. And I got to the point of wondering, you know what? This movie came out in 1989. Why bother? Why are we even going down this route now in 2015? I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. Those of you that know me and have been fans of the show for a while know this. You understand this. I've got Ghostbusters crap all over my house. Okay? So it's not like I'm saying this as somebody who's just jaded and really hates the franchise from the very beginning. No, I am a huge, huge fan and always have been. My opinion on the third movie is the video game that came out a few years ago is your third movie. And it's time to let that be the end of it, and let's move on and never go back to Ghostbusters. Let's let it continue to live on in retro glory fashion. Remember it fondly. We quote it. We quote the greatest quotes, and we move on to other topics of interest, other movies of interest. Then Peter Fig comes along with Sony Pictures, who still owns the rights because they're the ones that own Columbia, and they decided they're going to do an all-female Ghostbusters. All right, fine. Still no interest in seeing it, even less so. And it's nothing against female Ghostbusters. I have nothing against that at all. I'm against the whole idea of, oh, we're going to be progressive and this is going to be the future of things because we're hiring all girls to do this. That, to me, is complete bullshit. But we'll get to that here in a second. So now the news comes down the past week. This is reported on Collider and Deadspin and Screen Rants and Bloody Disgusting and Fangoria. You name it, they're talking about it. And it's created a huge hoopla of controversy and yelling and screaming and bitching and whining, even more so than when they announced they were going to do an all-female Ghostbusters. Where there were some people out there who was like, yay for progressivism, yay for women's rights, and blah, 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 blah. We're doing an all-female Ghostbusters. Versus the, boo, this is stupid. Why are we doing this again? You know what? It should be all guys. You know, there's that argument out there. And then there's just the, look, Ghostbusters time's over. Let's go. Let's let it go. So now they've announced that they are going to be doing another Ghostbusters film to go in tandem with the all-females one, starring a, quote, male-dominant cast. And the two names they're kicking around to star in this are Channing Tatum and Chris Pratt.
Oh, really?
Channing Tatum and Chris Pratt, who I guess in real life are really good friends, according to the articles I've read.
Chris Pratt I can see, but...
Yep, Channing Tatum and Chris Pratt.
Well, it's going to be an instant hit. Let's just say that.
We'll get there. That's part of the conversation.
I'm not saying it's a legitimate hit, but
the
whatever.
people they are looking to hire to write and direct this are the guys who did Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So guys I think are pretty damn competent because that was a damn good movie, I think. So they're going to be doing a male-centric Ghostbusters that's going to be coming out after the female-centric ones with the idea of doing a crossover movie for a third one where both teams will team up to fight an even bigger threat. And then there will be a fourth movie that will be a sort of prequel. And those are the ideas that Sony is kicking around. And the reason they want to do this, in Sony's explanation, is they want to create a Marvel Universe type spin-off thing. Similar to what the Avengers have been doing and what all these other Marvel franchises have been doing where they're all cross-promoting, going into each other's movies. They want to do that with the Ghostbusters franchise. Now, this is not overly surprising. And again, most of this is just rumor at this point. Nothing has been 100% confirmed. But people at Sony are the ones who are leaking this out to the press. Again, according to these different articles. Now, with that being said, you got to remember Sony Pictures, and this is to go ahead and give a little bit of a look into whether or not this is a credible belief or not. Sony recently wanted to do this with the Spider-Man movies because they've had the rights to the Spider-Man franchise. Marvel's been desperate to get them back. That's why Sony keeps kicking out all these terrible Spider-Man movies every few years because they have to keep the rights there. So their original idea, up until they had to let go of their higher up because of the latest hacking crap that happened with North Korea, they were originally going to do Spider-Man spin-off movies of the Sinister Six, Venom. They were going to do a female superhero movie based on the Spider-Man universe, which I would assume would be Black Cat because she's the only real one that's in there that is actually a mainstream Spider-Man villain / co-hero. And when that fell apart, when that woman left because of all the controversy, the ideas for the Spider-Man stuff started falling apart. We covered that a little bit last week. So now they want to do the same thing with Ghostbusters because that is the latest and greatest ploy. They want to go ahead and cross-promote as many of these things as possible, expand the universe to make multiple movies. So now you've got an all-female story. You've got a mostly male-centric. That's the way they're phrasing it. So let's go ahead and assume that means an all-guy group. And then eventually we're going to put them all together in one movie, and then we're going to do a prequel of how these two groups got together, which makes no sense to me because I'm assuming your first movie is going to be about how they all got together. So that is the plan coming out of Sony. So what is everybody bitching and screaming about? Well, first and foremost, it's the idea that, well, we can't, if we're going to have a female Ghostbusters movie, which is good and all fine and that should be happening, it's wrong to go ahead and do an all-male Ghostbusters to follow it up. The reason being is because now people are going to compare the women's Ghostbusters to the male Ghostbusters. It's creating this battle of the sexes. It's creating a whole big controversy of which movie's going to do better. And then the fans are going to be divided, and they're going to be screaming and yelling that this movie's better than that movie. And it's going to create a whole big hoopla. So I will agree with them on a couple points there. Yes, it is going to create a big hoopla. Yes, it is going to go ahead and divide fans. But if you didn't think that there was already a battle of sexes going on before they announced the male-centric Ghostbusters, then you're a fucking deluded moron who has no business working in the media business at all. The moment you decided that you wanted to have an all-female Ghostbusters movie, you immediately created the battle of the sexes. Because now, not only are you shoving down the idea that, well, women now have to be progressive and them being in the spot is a better move for men because not all men go to the movies, regardless of how true that is or not. You've pretty much also said in the same vein that the men aren't good enough. We want to make a movie starring all women, and we are dedicated to this, and we're going to fight for this. Okay, that's fine and dandy. You really want to do that? It's your buck. Go ahead and do it. But don't think for a second that didn't start the ball rolling on the battle of the sexes shit, because you've been seeing this stuff online for the past 3 months since they made this announcement in the first place. And you've been putting up these pictures of the women cast all getting together at these different award shows and celebrating and really promoting your movie before you even started breaking ground on filming the damn thing. This battle of the sexes shit has been 3 months going. Does this make it worse? Probably. But you know what? You know what really pisses me off, though?
Longer than that, really, because when they first started the rumors of it, it was last summer.
True. Okay, so even longer than that. So about last 6-7 months. But you know what really pisses me off? Is this whole idea of the Ghostbusters being for women in the first place being progressive. You know what? We live in a society now here in the United States, and I say this because a lot of you guys don't live in the United States who watch this. We're a very international show. But we're on this huge kick nowadays about diversity and progressivism and not making white males the center of every little thing in the world. This has been going on for a while. It's just been building to a crescendo. That's why the Human Torch, the new Fantastic Four movie, is going to be black. That's why they're thinking about making the new Spider-Man black. That's why in the Marvel Comics, they made Spider-Man black in the Ultimate series. It's because they want to go ahead and be more inclusive. So explain to me somewhere where making a Ghostbusters group all of one gender is not being exclusive, whether it's male or female. Because we've never seen 4 females lead an action movie before. Okay, maybe.
Diversity in name only.
There you go. Diversity in name only. That's my whole point.
I hate to, just kind of going along with your point, I hate to break it to people, but equality means equal. Equal.
Exactly.
Not pushing everything onto the opposite gender just to make a point that, we're being more... That's not being progressive. If they want to be progressive, they would have a Ghostbusters crew with black people and Asian people and men and women,
which is
and
the point I'm
maybe a
getting
gay Ghostbuster. I mean, that might be kind of interesting.
Which is the point that I'm getting to.
Who knows? Maybe a transgender Ghostbuster who looks like a dude but dresses like a female and has sassy comments as he blasts the ghost back into the hereafter. I mean, that would be what diversity looks like if they really wanted to go that route.
Thank you, because that's my point exactly. They could have nipped this all in the bud from the very beginning by going ahead and actually making a diverse Ghostbusters group in the first place. You want to talk to me about progressivism? You want to talk to me about equality? Well, how the hell is doing the same exact thing, just switching the gender or sexuality of something of a group of people, really being all that diverse? Oh, wow, now we see 4 white women instead of seeing 4 white men. Whoop-de-doo. Like Baroness said, where are the other groups that are involved in this? We want to really get strict about diversity. Let's go ahead and get into all the different groups. We need the blacks represented. Asians need to be represented. We need to have gay people represented. Transgender need to be represented. White males need to be represented. White women need to be represented. White males and females who are divorced and married. All these different groups need to go ahead and be shown in this movie because that is the way diversity works. We have to show everything, but we're only diverse in name only. That's the hidden secret here in the United States. In the United States, we're all about things that are different just as long as they're all the same. Because that's the catch-22. You really want to be different, you're going to get shit for it. Now, you can go ahead and get into the whole thing here that, you know what, it's still wrong to have an all-male and all-female Ghostbusters. You know what, you might just be right. Maybe they should have squashed them all together in the first place. But you know what, I want to fuck with these progressive liberals a little bit further and piss them off even further. By doing the third movie, after you do the male and female one, in the third one, they all need to start dating and get married. And they also need to have happy marriages. Because nothing pisses off a progressive liberal more than telling them that a marriage and kids can actually make you happy. Because that just seems to be the bane of their existence, all right? I'm a powerful woman. I'm a powerful man. I can exist on my own. That may be, but fuck you, because you're going to go ahead and get married in this movie and have kids. And you're going to be happy. Oh, and guess what? Some of you might even have religious beliefs. Or, you know what? One of you is going to be gay and you're still going to get in a relationship and have a happy ever after, because you know what? Being in a relationship is not a bad thing. But apparently that's the kind of thing they want you to believe in, as well as going in and having an all-male Ghostbusters team. No, this bullshit could have all been killed in the first place by going in and having a diverse group in the first place. And Sony, they're claiming that this is, the people behind the scenes are saying this is actually a ploy by Sony and done intentionally because they wanted to have a multiple spin-off movie in the first place. And Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman are the ones producing the all-male one. And Dan Aykroyd was quoted 2 months ago by saying he hasn't given up on his idea for a Ghostbusters 3 yet, which told me right there that there's still something in the works. Now we have this news breaking. This is something that spells of a setup all along. Now, obviously, they didn't tell everybody. But you know what? Controversy creates cash. Let's be honest.
That's true.
We're all now talking about Ghostbusters 3, a topic that I swore off 4 months ago that we're never going to talk about in the show again because I was that pissed off about talking about it. Because nothing that was coming out of this whole thing was making me happy at all.
Technically speaking, we're not just talking about Ghostbusters 3, but also Ghostbusters 4 and Ghostbusters to the nth power, because who knows how many they're going to make after this.
Exactly.
I mean,
as many as they can.
Going by the same argument. Okay, so now we have the all-female cast. Now we're going back to an all-male cast for a different one, completely separate from the others. And, you know, we still have plenty of groups that we have to have the all whatever that group is so that we can show that we are progressive as Americans. Because otherwise we're racist.
Exactly.
So
or we're sexist, or we're this,
yes,
or we're that.
Yes. Manly Stuff writes in, a transgendered midget black Pacific Islander Ghostbuster. I smell a sequel!
I love Manly Stuff. This is why I'm glad he comes every week. And then Sammy Yates is saying, are we sure male Ghostbusters aren't going to be the Foundation 80s? Let's screw them for doing the dick after talking to us about making this cartoon. Okay. Missing says Baroness franchises. Actually, that could work. And the prequel would be how the franchises start. That may be. Still stupid, though. Charlie's Angel, says Tree. But yeah, and again, these people are bitching because now it's you know, it's one group versus another group. You know what? I would play that up if I were Sony. I would take that to the nth degree. I would definitely turn this into a battle of the sexes. Because again, controversy creates cash. I'm going to piss everybody off because then everyone's going to want to see this thing. Just like The Interview. The Interview would have been an abysmal bomb of a movie had North Korea not made such a big stink about it and hacked Sony. That made that movie a fucking gold mine.
I would still argue that I don't really think that North Korea hacked Sony. I think that Sony staged a hacking and got a crap load of publicity as a result of it.
With how much money they lost as a result, though, to me, it would make more sense. It would make more sense if there was an anonymous hacker group that did it versus North Korea.
Yeah.
Point is, somebody did it, but that's the controversy right there. I would piss everybody off. I would have them hate each other, and then they all end up married, because nothing would piss more people off than having them happily married together and having a successful franchise with both groups together. Because again, that's not what we're supposed to be doing here. We're not supposed to be all about that. I would play this up to the nth degree and piss everybody off. If you know what, if I'm this committed to the idea, I'm going to do it. This should never have happened in the first place, and my Ghostbusters deserve better as a result. They really do. This is not something that should be happening for the Ghostbusters franchise. It doesn't deserve this. And now, as horrible as it is to say, I wish Ghostbusters had just died. Died and gone away and never come back. 1989 would have been the end. I would even sacrifice the video game, which I absolutely freaking love. I bought my PlayStation 3 just to buy Ghostbusters. I bought them on the same day. Otherwise, I had no interest in getting a console.
That's true.
I went out that day, the day it came out, bought Ghostbusters and my console because I was that excited to play it, and I love it. That's the only reason I keep that PlayStation 3 too, because of that game and a couple others, but that one mostly. I even got it for the PC because I saw that it came out for the PC just in case something happens to my disc and I can't ever find another copy of it. I bought it on Steam because it was like $5 in the last Steam sale. Totally worth it. I would have done it again. I love that fucking game, but I would sacrifice it in a heartbeat if it meant we can go back in time and undo all the shit that we now have to live through. Because not only do we have to watch Melissa McCarthy's fat-ass mug go ahead and pretend to ham it up for an hour and a half, but now we have to worry about this battle of the sexes shit. So you know what? I go for broke. I piss everybody off. Because that's the only way you're going to make this successful now. You have to make everybody angry. Because there's no one's going to be happy in this one. Oh, well, those horrible chauvinistic men are going to be happy because now they have their own Ghostbusters because they can't handle an all-female crew. And then the male is like, oh, those women can't handle watching another all-male-led movie, so now they're happy they get theirs. And it's just one big pissing match back and forth that nobody has time for, and really we should have outgrown by now. But this is diversity in the United States 2015, in the 21st century. Or the lack thereof. Again, diversity in the United States means we celebrate differences just as long as everybody is the same.
I remember in college getting into an argument in my cultural diversity class because the professor, no, she did make some good points and she had some good resources, but this particular argument was when she was talking about the national identity and how in the past, the United States was really built by immigration. So when you got to America, you had the Irish, you had the Germans, you had the English, you had, the Spanish, anybody coming from Europe. All these different cultures kind of coming together. They come through Ellis Island, and they're melting together. And the idea was that the United States was a melting pot where everybody came in and then they became American. And they built this identity throughout that. And then what she was arguing was that, to be truly diverse, what we needed to do was shift our thinking from being, the melting pot and having a strong national identity to being more of what she called the mixed salad. So you've got your tomatoes and you've got your lettuce and stuff, and they all come together to make the salad, but they're all distinct and different on their own, which is a great idea, but it's not exactly what we want to do because...
How do you make rules for everybody to get along?
Exactly. I mean, some people don't like tomatoes. Some people like to have salads with eggs in it. Some people like to have salads with onions in it. Other people are going to outright reject that as heresy and say, you know what? I want my salad unadulterated. Just give me the lettuce and the dressing, bitches, because that's how I roll. And you know what?
Oh, I love it. I love that.
And when I brought that point up, I was like, you can't have both. I mean, you can't have a national identity and say, well, you have to be different and, whatever. My argument was, what's the happy medium? How do you balance those two ideas? And she couldn't come up with anything. She just had to, the way that she argued it was that the melting pot was wrong, that we shouldn't have cohesiveness, that we had to be the mixed salad and just accept the fact that the mixed salad exists.
Which is stupid. That's stupid thinking. That's progressivism for you. Because, and you know what? Even to go on a point,
if you don't like onions, you are wrong.
I'm going to use more of a political point here, based on something I saw in the news. But did you see that there was a school, I think it was in California, shocker of all shocks, where some of the students on the student council got the American flag banned, and the student council president and the legislative branch of the student body went ahead and put in a rule to put the American flag back in. Within 24 hours, 1,500 professors nationwide wrote a letter to the university saying that they should take down the U.S. flag because the U.S. flag is racist and it's a symbol of racism.
Well, if you feel that way, then leave. I'm just saying.
But that's my point, though.
Yeah.
It's your point too. There is national identity is bad. Having to look one thing is bad. Straight white males are bad because they're the dominant ones. They're the ones that did all the oppressing.
Realistically,
I'm just saying what they say.
Historically, maybe.
You go into a college and you're a straight white male. You take certain classes. You don't say anything if you're smart. You just sit there, shut up, and take your punishment. And that's what they condition you to do. Because you get baited into fights. Oh, we're all here all about being open-minded. Yeah, we're open-minded until you go ahead and open your mouth and we can go ahead and bash you and put you down. Because we don't argue points here. We argue politics. And a missing goes ahead and illustrates my point perfectly. Okay, a half Asian, quarter Haitian, quarter Hispanic, straight married male starts up a Ghostbusters franchise with a bisexual Australian transvestite woman who is living with a small person, in quotes, Russian ghost from the moon that changes gender every time he is mentioned. There you go. You get everybody. You get everybody. Everyone's like, what the hell?
I think it's a point just because.
I think missing flat out wins because that illustrates our point perfectly.
You just won the internet. Missing. Congratulations.
Now to go back to being serious for a second. I am all for having women be in lead movies of action franchises and comedies. Okay? I am all for having a black person do it, or a Hispanic person, or Asian, or whatever the fuck you want to choose. Doesn't matter as long as the movie's good. My issue is, though, if you're really going to go on this whole, we're being progressive and looking to the future because it's the 21st century, they need to fucking act like it. An all-male group is still the same as an all-female group, regardless of whether one gender's been promoted or another. Because it's still one gender over another. It's still one group over another. Because that was the dialogue and the conversation you created from the very beginning. The second you made that choice for casting, you made that choice for story. That's what you introduced, and that's what you're going to get. Welcome to the times. This all could have been avoided in the very beginning if they'd had male and female Ghostbusters. I don't care what race, color, religion they could have been. But that would have ended your argument right there. And Sony's point, I think, is they do want to do cross-branding and cross-promotion, and this is the easiest way to do it. But I think people in this nation, or in this world even, but probably this nation specifically, are so hard up to fight for some kind of political belief that they'll go ahead and create a fight when one doesn't need to happen. Because it's not about what really is best. It's about being right. And that is the arguments that piss me off when we come to politics or anything in this world. It's not about what really is the best course of action. It's, no, I'm right, and I know why I'm right. And you need to admit you're wrong because I'm right. That is what is really driving these conversations. That is what's really driving these debates and these articles and these opinions and these podcasts. My opinion is right, yours is wrong. Not which idea really is the best. And that's bullshit. Because again, Ghostbusters deserve a fuck of a lot better than that. The franchise wasn't set out originally to be a patriarchy celebration film, okay? Let's dispel that rumor from right now, okay? The original Ghostbusters was not setting out some political agenda to talk about how straight white males are the best there ever is in the world.
Especially at fighting ghosts.
Yes, especially at fighting ghosts. And the one getting laid.
By a ghost.
You know what? And when you talk about these movies where it's like, okay, now we're going to have an all-female cast. Yay! All right, why? Well, because we just like writing for women, and women are going to be better, and where's the 21st century? We want to reflect that. What are you really saying? There's nothing in that that's worth substance. So you're making a casting choice because you want to reflect it. Why the fuck do you even care? Your bottom line is money. They're doing it because they think whatever reason they're going to draw more money. Why would they drive more money? Because controversy creates cash, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we're going through this and having this conversation. Controversy creates cash. They couldn't give two shits who stars in their Ghostbusters film as long as it makes a lot of money. And if they can silence some of the people that are bitching about it or even create more bitching that will generate even more money, let's create a male one so we can go ahead and make this even more controversial. And then we're going to cross them over together.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
Oh,
because
they will.
That would make a truly diverse ghostbusting franchise group.
No, they will. Because they're going to want to piss people off. That's why I'm saying have them all date. Have them all date and get married. Let's piss everybody off. Let's go for broke. Because that pisses everybody off.
Ghostbusters Jr.
There you go.
Little baby Ghostbusters running around.
There you go. Then you have kids Ghostbusters spin-off. There you go. I like it.
Where they're in their daycare, and their daycare is haunted by an evil nanny from the turn of the century.
Artemis M says, so women are better, but I am pretty sure a man can pee longer than women without helping tools. What the hell does that even have to do with anything?
You know, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on here, but that is like that. We were having a conversation a while back about the differences between men and women, and what did you think? The question was posed, and I'm going to screw up how exactly it was worded, but the idea was, if you're a woman, what do you think would be the most awesome thing about being a man? And then if you're a man, what's the most awesome thing about being a woman? And then also the vice versa, what would be the worst thing? And I always thought it would be like really cool. I've always been very jealous of the fact that you guys can pee your name in the snow.
Yep. You've said that from the very beginning we started dating.
Yeah. Anyway. Continue on.
Exactly, missing. And after clashing, they learn to love each other. That would be the whole point. They'd hate each other, they'd bicker and they'd argue, but in the end, there'd be the flirting, they'd all get together, and everybody would be happy ever after, which would piss everybody off. Because, again, if it's truly progressive, we don't believe marriage is bad, kids are bad, and the need that you need to be, and the feeling that you need to be in a relation to be happy is bad. Because some people just love to fight every fucking thing. Yeah, and don't cross the streams, too. Don't cross the genders. Thus, you have transgender Ghostbuster. Boom-ch. No, it's this whole thing has just become a parody of itself. Mm-hmm. And now, if Chris Pratt and Channing Tatum do agree to do this, they're gonna have to put up with a bunch of shit for it. How could you do this to your female co-stars and Ghostbusters and blah 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 blah? Have you no decency? I'm pretty sure they just want a paycheck, and they get to go around blasting ghosts and get paid for it. Who the fuck wouldn't want to do that? Regardless of what group you might be discriminating against, which they're really not discriminating against anybody. But yes, I think they did put a lot of pressure now on both franchises. They did put them both in a position that they're going to have to compete. I agree with all those points. But I think that's also is the point. They want to create that. Because again, controversy creates cash. And we all have to suffer as a result. So Ghostbusters 3 needs to die. Ghostbusters 4 needs to never happen. And Ghostbusters 5 definitely needs to happen. They need to just let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Really?
And then we move on.
You went there? Wow.
I've now moved on.
Wow.
I don't know. See, it's just... This is what I don't get. And it's like I've been watching more and more podcasts because, kind of get an idea what other people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to more talk radio and reading a lot more things online. And it just seems like everyone's got a bone to pick.
Of course.
And it's never about what actually is right and wrong. It's, no, I'm right. And that's all it's about. It's about who's right.
Yeah, and to go back to Killer's very, very astute question, what is it that you're really upset about? And the answer is, I'm upset about I feel I'm right and you do not feel I'm right. So I'm going to argue that point to the death, whether the facts fit, my argument or not.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of these shows get on. And that's what a lot of people complain about with a lot of these shows too. What am I pissed about? I'm pissed because my beloved children's memory, these movies, the cartoons, the toys, everything. I'm pissed that now its legacy is going to be this stuff. Its legacy is no longer going to be about 4 lovable nerd guys who really have no business doing anything successful, who start a franchise and end up saving the world as a result. And have funny one-liners and awesome toys. That whole legacy is now tarnished. Now the legacy of Ghostbusters is going to be this debacle of 2 films, battle of the gender, and what is progressive and what is not in the 21st century. That is now the Ghostbusters legacy, and I'm sick about it.
Not just 2 films, honey. There's going to be more. Trust me.
Right. There's going to be more.
Unless these ones somehow manage to bomb horrifically.
And I'm hoping they do.
Which, given the current state of the generation right behind us, we're screwed with a capital S.
And I just want it to go. I want it to bomb.
It's not going to, sadly.
And again, the first movie was not set out to make any of these statements that we think it is. Maybe it did because of the product of the times. So what? You know what? Movies come out now that still star 4 white guys. I didn't hear anybody bitching about diversity in The Hangover 1, 2, or 3. I didn't hear anybody complain about that. But Ghostbusters gets it? Really? I don't get it. Manly Stuff is thanking me for singing the Let It Go because it was killing him.
I like this. Sammy Asa writes, Pee my name in the snow. You know how many years I freaked out the locals by using a super soaker with lemonade to write random long names in the snow? By the way, did anyone ever get caught writing swear words in the snow outside of a church? Shame on you, Sammy.
Wow, Sammy Asa. That's horrible. That's horrible. Why?
As we sit around laughing about it.
Oh, anyway. All right, so that's the Ghostbusters argument, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you guys pretty much know where I stand on it. Yeah, I know the rant wasn't quite as epic as the Ben Affleck rants of past, but
well, like you said, you kind
of
we should have recorded you on the other night when you were initially reading the thing, because you were definitely you've had some time to kind of mull this over and
right.
To
really solidify my point and actually think about it rationally versus my irrational and emotional response to this which my emotional response is, fuck this, I'm raging. But I think I handled it okay. Mostly because I didn't have a camera on me, so I didn't think it was okay to go ahead and rage. I'm like, no, this has to be filmed. People tune in to see this stuff, so I need to save it. All right, so we only have a few more articles left for the evening. So we're going to go ahead and get into those, and then we'll do our after-hours segment. Killer McCoy, if you're listening to this, if you're not in TeamSpeak, get there. We're going to be coming to you in 5 minutes.
We've got 15 minutes, so what do you want to talk about?
I don't even think it's going to take 15 to get through all these. Let's go to the AMC Walking Dead stuff. Okay. This also comes from Bloody Disgusting. And the title of this one is AMC orders 2 seasons of the Walking Dead spin-off show, quote, Fear of the Walking Dead. So that is the working title, Fear of the Walking Dead. All right, Walking Dead fans, hang on to your butts. Huge news dropped this afternoon that AMC has ordered 2 seasons of a spin-off series to be executive produced by Robert Kirkman, Gail Ann Hurd, George Nicoretto, and David Alpert. Most of those guys were the ones who were involved in the actual writing of the books, as well as producing on the first show. Plot details are scarce, but AMC President Charles Collier has stated that the series will explore, quote, what was going on in other parts of the zombie apocalypse and what it looked like as the world really did turn. The new series, titled to be announced, will be set in Los Angeles, of course, because it has to be fucking California.
Of course.
and focused on new characters and storylines. The show's first season will consist of 6 one-hour episodes and premiere on AMC in late summer. The show's second season will air in 2016. So I'm going to follow the setup of the first series. But the first series only had 6 episodes in the first season because that's when the writer's strike was going on. So that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense as to why they'd want to do that. Especially if they're going to order 2 seasons. If they're ordering 2 seasons, they're pretty damn confident this thing's going to take off. Because you don't put that kind of financial equipment ahead if you don't think you're going to recoup it. Our producers is being produced by AMC Studios. Dave Erickson, who did Marco Polo and Sons of Anarchy, who co-created and co-wrote the pilot with Kirkman, is an executive producer and will be a showrunner. The series will star Cliff Curtis from Missing and Gang Related, Kim Dickens from Gone Girl and Sons of Anarchy, Frank Delane from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Alicia Debnam Carey, who was in Into the Storm. I've seen none of those. And then I'm going to read the quote here. We take incredibly seriously the notion of building a satisfying companion series to the #1 show on television. From the beginning of The Walking Dead on AMC, we've been asked questions about what was going on in other parts of the zombie apocalypse and what it looked like as the world really did turn. Through this new series, we're going to find out, says Charles Collier, AMC president. Robert Kirkman, David Erickson, and their writing team, along with an incomparable set of producers, cast and crew, have created something remarkable and clearly distinct. We respectfully follow the request of Monty Python as we bring out the latest of our dead. Ba-dum-tsh. And then they go on and talk about how awesome it is that they have a 2-season commitment. All right, so here's the deal with The Walking Dead. I've started watching it again, mostly because I keep getting requests to talk about it. I'm still far behind, so relax. It's still going to be a little while. I'm really torn about the idea of doing a companion series. Part of the reason is I'm a huge fan of the comic books. Huge fan. I was reading those long before the show ever came. That's right, folks. I'm an original. That's actually important in nerd world.
No hipsters here.
Damn right. Fuck the hipsters. The Walking Dead's actually been heard of. I still love that. If a tree falls in their forest and no one's around to hear it, does a hipster buy its album?
Good point.
The answer is yes. But anyway, it's true. It's true.
It really is. That's
Y'all know
the
those
sad
hipster douchebags out there. You probably can name one in your personal life who would have gone out and bought that album and then post all over Facebook how awesome it is and then go ahead and bitch and scream at the world because everybody else suddenly starts liking it and they were one of the originals. But anyway.
I feel like I need to go find a beret.
God, don't. I'd lose respect for you. And you're my wife, so I have a lot of respect for you because I chose to ask you to marry me. So don't do that. Don't ruin a good thing.
Really?
Don't
When
ruin
did you
a good
do that?
thing. Oh, that's right. You proposed to me. I still said yes.
Progressivism, bitches. Yes.
I still said yes.
Anyway, continuing.
Exactly. So if they're going to do this companion piece and they're really dead set on it, and let's be honest, they're not looking to make a respectable anything except a buck. Okay, they want to make respectable money here. That's the whole point. And that's fine. They're a business. That's what they're supposed to do. So I get that. If they're going to do a companion series, what I want to see is what they hinted at. I want to see the world actually go to shit. I want to see the actual zombie outbreak progress over a period of time because these zombie movies always start with the aftermath. Either it's in its infant stages and is just getting started and then they're holed up in some place while everything's going to shit and you don't see any of it, or it takes place after everything's already gone to shit and now they're surviving in the post-apocalypse. I want to see the actual fucking apocalypse happen. I want to see it in its grotesque glory.
I want to see it from the zombies' point of view.
That'd be kind of difficult. A found footage zombie film where you're the zombie. Who put the Go Cam on the zombie?
Well, you know what? There's ways that you could do this.
Yes, you could.
There's ways that you could do this. So the zombie was like a mountain climber. He had the GoPro camera on to, chronicle his trek up the Himalayas or whatever. And, so he has like a little power pack on his back so that, because he's in the Himalayas, he can't exactly stop and recharge the camera. So he has to have like a little solar panel on his backpack to keep the camera going, right? So that's how this continues onward.
Panel.
So anyways, so he's in the Himalayas and gets, he encounters like someone who's infected with this thing. So now he's a zombie and he's like, has no interest in continuing to the top of the mountain because his brain is deteriorating. So he's just going down the mountain and wreaking havoc in, somewhere in... I'm not good with geography, so Asia somewhere. And, it could just chronicle like how society is crumbling as these zombies take over. It could work.
You'd get 4 episodes in and that'd be an old, tired motif.
No, I was thinking movie. I'm thinking...
A movie, possibly. You could possibly pull off a movie.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do a show series like they're planning with this one. They're going to want this to go like the main show. They're going to want this to go as long as humanly possible. They're going to ride this gravy train to the end. And probably even further than the end if they can go ahead and do it long enough and make enough money. They're gonna Simpsons it. All right. The difference is, Simpsons didn't have original source material that's eventually limited. In any case, I want to see the whole world go to hell. I want to see the apocalypse actually happen. The one thing I liked about World War Z, excuse me, and we're talking about the movie here, and the book too. You actually get to see how the world starts to go to shit. You're in the city when the first big breakout happens, and everybody's running and screaming, and things are going exploding, and people are getting squished by cars. Now, I just wish it was a much better movie where they actually could have done it, a decent amount of respect. But I like that they even went there in the first place. If they're going to do a companion series, I want to see that. I want to see what Los Angeles looks like when the zombie outbreak's going on and happening, not after it's done. And the vast majority of the population is wiped out, and now we just have a few stragglers that we're going to focus on. No, we've seen that, okay? We've been seeing that for the last 30 years of zombie movies. Show me what happens when things start going to hell. The original Dawn of the Dead and the remake also started with that idea too. But then they go hold up in the mall forever, and then by the time they get out of the mall, the whole world's already gone to shit and the apocalypse is already over with. Now it's just surviving in the post-apocalyptic world. I want to see the apocalypse go on from beginning to end. If they do that, I will give the companion series a lot more of my attention. And I can't bitch because they're not focusing on characters that I already are established and already written and not doing them an injustice with the way they've been done in the show, like many of the characters that have been done in the show so far. Yes, I can see the baby out of the corner of my eye. I don't know what it's doing, but I can see it moving. That's just creepy, all right? From my perspective, you can just see the eyes and the head slowly peering over the top here. God forbid I ever do this on tap, though. You rage like a mother if I do this to you on tap. I tried to pick up a cat and put it on screen. You damn near bit my head off.
No, I did bite your head off.
Yes, you did. You're like... And I did, so... That is a pretty creepy-ass baby, though. And just so you know, she picked the baby up off of the sacrificial altar, speaking of Ghostbusters, where we have the Vigo poster... and the candles and the baby there to go ahead and be sacrificed. We would show you the Vigo poster in all of its glory, but I'm worried about copyright shit and Twitch going in and censoring this video later. Or YouTube or whoever. But you can also go to our Twitter at ghostinthepodcast and find it up on there too. So if you really want to see the altar.
That's really disturbing.
Jagblade says you should do that to Varyar. He loves creepy babies.
Varyar's seen this and doesn't like sitting next to it, so there's that.
Manly Stuff suggests, why not make somebody on a plane get infected, then return to the United States after infecting everybody on the plane. Pilots do an emergency landing, zombies get out of the plane, and start infecting people immediately in the location.
I like it.
I would like that. And they start getting everybody in the airport, although they'd have to do it like an actual airport where they get off, and they're actually walking through the concourse inside to get inside the airport instead of getting off outside and having to walk across the landing strip. I always hated how movies do that because I've never been to an airport that actually does that.
Marvel
that would be
zombies.
cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they've had that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, they've done several Marvel zombie stories.
Wow. How have I not been aware of this before this moment?
Yeah, look it up. They've done several series of it.
I feel so like I'm missing out.
I think Wolverine was the ultimate one, of course, because it's Wolverine, because somehow his his regeneration thing kind of works.
Yeah,
with it.
you know what? I didn't realize that was a real thing. I have seen those pictures though. Now that you mention it.
All right. So again, real quick though, before we move on to the last couple articles, if and when they get this Walking Dead, well, not if, it's rather when they do get this thing off the ground, I really want to see it. I want to see them show the whole thing go to hell. I want to see the whole world fall into the zombie apocalypse. I don't want to see the aftermath. If they do that, I will give the spin-off series much deserved attention, because at least it'll be daring to do something different. What other movies have only hinted at, they'd go the full nine. I would love to see that. All right, the last couple articles here as we go into the last few minutes. Eli Roth, his lawyers are working really hard to get his movie The Green Inferno released soon. Now, The Green Inferno, now you want to talk about progressive, hipster douchebags. Basically, the plot line for The Green Inferno is there's this group of would-be do-gooders who decide that they want to fly into the Amazon jungle and fight for the preservation of tribes that are there that are in danger of forest deforestation and everything else, only to be taken captive by the very same tribe they're trying to protect and then eaten. So they're pretty much cannibals. And then it's about their horrifying experience, being eaten by horrible cannibals. a bunch of do-gooders who know nothing about the world flying into the most dangerous part of the world, or one of them, and getting eaten as a result. So they were supposed to release this movie over a year ago when it was made, but the guys who were producing it ran out of money. Funny thing how that happens when you make a god-awful movie by a mediocre director at best. So now they're currently in arguments to try to find a way to go ahead and get this thing released. Eli Roth swears up and down, again, that they are near going ahead and striking out a deal. So supposedly within the next few months, we will get an official release date for The Green Inferno. And no one cares. So we'll move on. I actually pissed off a friend of mine by bashing Eli Roth as much as I have. I don't really bash him. I just don't think he's a particularly good filmmaker. He's a fine actor, I guess, for what little he's done. All right, and last but not least, this one is one that we don't have up on the topics page. But this one's really important to me because this is a game that we've all been playing as part of our RCM gaming nights, although we haven't played in a little while. This is actually comes on the Steam community page about a new update patch for Depth. Depth,
Ooh.
the Sharks versus Diver multiplayer game, which
I need
is
my
freaking
shark
awesome.
hat now.
It's up there.
Oh, that's your shark head. It's eating the baby Fago.
That's why it's up
All right, hold on.
Not showing the
hold
baby
on,
Faygo.
hold on.
there. All right, she will go and get baby
Hold on,
Fago and show you how it's...
don't-
All right, I will wait. We will all patiently wait now for you to go off screen and grab that. Oh, I thought you were going to grab the baby with it.
No.
All right, so Baroness is now wearing the shark hat. She makes me wear that whenever I play the Depth game and yells at
We're
me if I don't.
talking about depth, so we have to. It's not sitting right with my ponytail in. All right, I will have to hold it on my head, but continue.
All right,
What is
so
the update with depth?
This is an update on the content patch. It's been a while since we showed any progress, but we feel bad for leaving you in the dark. So tons of stuff are going on behind the scenes right now, and we figured we owe you an explanation as to why things are taking so long. Yay!
Damn
So for
right you do.
starters, we wound up overshooting the goals we outlined in our Q1 blah 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 roadmap. When we started working on new content, we quickly realized that it could tie in some new gameplay opportunities that would require more work, but could open up some seriously cool new mechanics in Depth. Well, we got a little ahead of ourselves, and here's what we came up with. Steve, damage, and repair. Now, Steve is a little robot dude that the sharks are trying to go ahead and destroy before he gets all the treasure. Steve is a pretty crucial part of the game for both teams. He sets the pace for the divers' progress and contributes significantly to their chances of winning or losing the match. The problem is that while sharks can damage and disable Steve quite easily, destroying him is very difficult. This was a deliberate choice on our part because we ran out of time to fully flesh out Steve's health and damage system, which again is my biggest bitch about these video games. They release them before they're done. Again, you can go back a few episodes to see my ranting on that one. But we really wish we could have come up with something more interesting mechanics that would make divers truly care and protect Steve from the sharks, and would open up new tactics for sharks that involve trying to take Steve out of the gameplay entirely. To this end, we have rebalanced the way sharks deal damage to Steve. Steve no longer takes stacking damage from sharks. Steve takes a fixed amount of damage based on the size of the shark hitting him. Larger sharks hit harder. Steve will no longer regenerate health on his own. And the more damage Steve takes, the slower he moves. I like those. I like those a lot because it is a nicer advantage for the sharks. All right, they did a UI redesign. We're taking the opportunity to both refresh the look of Depth's menus as well as expand and improve what the menus do. As an example, the diver spawn menu in Depth saw many revisions before launch, ending up with the current layout. And then they go ahead and put up the new layout, which actually looks pretty neat. You can find this on the Steam community page if you want to see pictures. They went ahead and created leaderboards. They updated the AI a little bit. So the shark AI will respond better to shark shields and will no longer attack hidden targets without first getting close to them. Shark AI will attack Steve when the opportunity arises. It will also go for seals when low on HP. And Diver AI will now place both shark shields and sonar buoys. I have no idea what the hell it is. They've also updated some of the different abilities. It's glitching. It's going slow now.
Buoys.
Buoys. There you go. Buoys. Yay. Yay, English. They did some updates to the shark species, giving them some new abilities. The one they really highlight is the tiger shark's new ability to use camouflage. And they also added a new map.
Maps. I like
those,
maps.
I do too. And it's about time they added a new map because it really gets old after a while because it's the same I think it's like 6 or 8 maps total over and over and over again. And especially if you play Megalodon. Then it gets really old because then you can only use half of those maps.
I'm just really confused, though, as to what the sharks need the treasure for. I mean, do they have, like, shark malls?
They don't. They just eat divers. Their goal is just to eat divers and to win. I mean, that's it. There's not really a storyline for it. It's just a multiplayer versus game. There's no story to go with it. The most fun we had, and the one that really needs balancing, is Megalodon. The Megalodon is one person gets to play the gigantic ass shark, and then whichever one of the divers kills it gets to be that shark. Well, the divers get upgrades for weapons throughout the entire map. The shark never gets any upgrades. So by late stage of the game, you don't want to necessarily be the shark, even though you get most points for it, because it's so unfairly balanced to get your ass kicked. I would like to see them go ahead and balance that one out, because that is the most fun to play, especially if you get to start out as the shark and you're just slaughtering everybody.
Like the shark gets to like upgrade it. What would a shark upgrade to? Would he wear hats?
They get stronger hides. They do less damage when they run into things. They can kill you a lot faster. They maybe swim a lot faster, for a lot farther. Because you can do like rush swimming, similar to running, but you only have a certain amount of stamina you can do that for. Those are all things you could increase that would make it a lot more fair. Because the divers in Megalodon, they get like these things that they can speed up and like go all the way around the map because they never wear out. So I can just go like forever, just going as fast as I can, just spinning around. The shark can't get me while everybody else kills the shark. Well, you know what? Either put a limit on that so they can only use it for certain bursts, or give the shark more stamina to keep up with them.
Okay.
That would be a balance I'd like to see them do. But so far, they seem to be ignoring that one, which pisses me off a little bit. But considering it's just an additional mode of gameplay, I guess, take it or leave it. And with that being said, we are now at 7 o'clock on the dot, so it's time to move into our after-hours segment. I'm hoping Killer McCoy is already in chat.
Killer's in studio. You're not in studio. Just saying.
I now have to go to studio to go ahead and include Killer McCoy, who will join us for our after-hours segment. For those of you that may be new to the after-hours segment, here's how it works. Pretty much anything and everything is now open for conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be horror-themed, although that's kind of what we go for. So anything and everything is on board. I do have an article that I want to read as well to go ahead and celebrate the upcoming St. Patrick's Day, since I am Irish descent, and we have to go ahead and celebrate this in style. So let me go ahead and get into TeamSpeak here, which is our studio room.
Connected.
We are now connected. And let's move down to studio.
Channel switched.
Okay. Killer McCoy, are you there?
Ha! You show up as me.
Do I really?
Yeah. Look at the name.
This is what happens when I let you on my computer.
I'm in here twice, actually. This is amazing.
Continuous transmission. There we go. That would probably help him actually hear us. All right, Killer McCoy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Welcome. How is your evening going?
Pretty good. I'm watching this podcast show, but I don't know. This fat guy keeps yelling at this woman, or supposedly non-woman, across from him. I don't know. I might unfollow the show.
Sounds like my kind of guy. I think you should follow him. You should definitely follow him. You should also follow him on his Twitter and go ahead and email him about how great he is. Tell you, is he also wearing a hat?
Yes.
No, Killer. You should tell him he needs a sippy cup at all times during his broadcasts. Show them your sippy cup, because this is going to be what people are seeing you use from here on out.
I'm tempted to knock this over just to see how much it spills, even with the cap on. This is the first time in my life I've ever drank beer through a straw.
Well, if you could be trusted.
And I have my Snapple here, too.
Oh, crap.
There you
I forgot
go,
about
then.
that.
Hey, the Snapple didn't spill yet. And it has a lid. I don't know where it went, but it has a lid. All right, Killer McCoy, so I understand you have 5 questions for us this evening.
Yes, sir, I do. Question number 1.
Bring your questions on, puny human.
If you had to wear a t-shirt with one word on it for the rest of your life, which word do you choose?
Just one word?
One word.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I can think of a few choice words right now for some individuals.
I had about 5 things pop into my head, but they're all 2 words, so it's like, okay. Give me a second.
All right, one word. God, what word would I choose? What would be a word that could encapsulate everything, but still leave enough question for people to ask? What does that mean?
Fahudmagods.
What?
Channeling your inner strong bad here.
Yes, I am.
So go ahead and explain what that means.
It's kind of hard to explain. You have to go and actually watch the video.
Tree suggests beer. Sam Miesa says Batman.
Actually, let me see if I
Artemis
can
M
find it.
says wanker or wankers. I would have to choose.
Kumashak is 2 words. Just saying. Batman works.
I'd have to say. Yeah. Oh yeah, would be 2. So I can't do that. Probably just word.
Word.
That's right. Word, yo. Kind of like, just
Word. God, we are so white.
We are. We're the whitest white guys that ever came to Whitey Town. Anyway.
Exactly. All right, question number 2. Describe the most inappropriate present that you have ever received.
Shit, here we go. Go ahead, Baroness. Tell them all about that smirk on your face. No, go ahead. I give you permission. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to go with the plethora of Big Bang Theory merchandise that she sent.
Yeah, you can do that
The
too.
very visit after she asked me if I was Penny.
She asked you if you were Penny?
Yes.
Why? That's not what I thought you'd pick, but all right. Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, actually, you know what? The plethora of stuff came the Christmas before. Then we had the Penny conversation, and then it was like a few weeks later after I explained that no.
All right.
And then I got more stuff, so it's like...
Here's the back channel of this one. There was a certain individual that I asked to borrow their Big Bang Theory DVD to watch. Because Baroness and I had watched the first
Who
season.
does every once in a while listen to the show, so be careful about this.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, it just kind of jump-started a whole Big Bang Theory thing, and many, many, many things have come coming. All right, most inappropriate gift I ever got. What did I get? I haven't really gotten a whole lot of really inappropriate ones. At least not that were unintentional. Because I think the unintentional ones would be funnier.
Oh, can I change my answer? Because I've thought of a more inappropriate one.
Go for it.
It was a piece of... How do I describe this without...
Well, you've already got everyone's imagination running, so I just kind of let this go for a little bit.
It was a piece of lingerie from a very...
Who gave you that?
Your aunt. The look on his face.
But who?
His aunt.
Oh my god!
I wasn't sure how to react to it.
I'm still not sure how to react to it.
Oh...
I think I know which one, too. Are we still talking to this one? Wow. Please tell me that was part of a wedding gift or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's still odd. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it was-
nothing like that.
Yeah. It was extremely awkward because it's not like we're particularly close.
Yeah, I know which one it is now. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was very, very awkward.
Most inappropriate I ever got was there was one year my father got me pink sandals, a purple t-shirt, and pink shorts. And he told me that the reason he got those is because he thought I would like those better than the blue or green ones. Funny thing is, I was dating a girl at the time. I think my dad was trying to ask me something, but I don't know. Yeah, he chose pink, who, by the way, my dad was a cop. Mr. Manley himself. But apparently pink and purple, much more interesting than blue or green. Must have been a friggin' bright blue and green. Tree's like, you guys get presents?
Yes, Tree, we're Americans. We get presents.
The other one I'd say would be the Faygo baby.
Faygo baby wasn't inappropriate.
No, I was just saying that for a reaction. Anyway, next question.
Next question.
All right, here we go.
What TV game show would you want to go on?
There was this old game show, well, not really old, I guess it's old now, called Beat the Geeks, where you'd watch it. It used to be on Comedy Central, and you'd have to go up against like the geek of like Battlestar Galactica, or the one who knew about The Simpsons, or the one who knew about whatever. I used to watch that with my friends, and there has not been one time where the Simpsons geek ever beat me. I would go on that show and dominate and be awesome and be completely revealed for my my geeklyhood, and then get his job and then do better at it, because that's how I roll. So I'd say I'd go on the old Beat the Geek show if I could.
Baroness.
I don't watch a lot of game shows, so I don't have a lot of reference here.
The Go Classic.
I mean, I loved Jeopardy growing up because I was pretty damn good at that. Oh, no! The Price is Right!
That's what I was thinking. I'm
Like,
surprised you didn't choose. You
we
wanted
would-
the Wii game of Price is Right.
I do. And I like Drew Carey, but we would have to use the TARDIS to go back in time to the Bob Barker era because, yes.
Yes, that's what I grew up on too.
Did you ever send pictures out about your TARDIS now that it's almost finished?
It's not finished yet. So, no.
Okay. It's coming along very nicely.
Yeah. It is.
Stop looking at me like
Excellent.
that. I didn't tell him any details to it.
No, we were talking about it earlier today, so I was wondering if you were...
All right, next question.
Apparently, I was going to say before that, Vario says he'd do the Amazing Race with his father. Apparently, they would dominate and be hilarious assholes doing it.
There you go. I like that.
All right, question number 4, and this could probably destroy your marriage, but let's find out if it does.
Oh, lovely.
If you could have a child with any famous person alive, who would it be, and what would their name be?
So if we could have a child with any famous person alive, who would it be and what would the kid's name be?
Yes.
See, there's only so many people I'd want to share my DNA with. I can feel the eyes burning into the side of my head.
I'm actually surprised that your initial reaction wasn't immediately Scarlett Johansson.
She's up there. She's in the top 3. There's 2 others, though, I have to consider.
Now we're talking about Scarlett Johansson with red hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
just to
so-
piss Baroness off. No, I'm kidding.
So
No,
you've
to be
got-
honest, it wouldn't matter for
So
her.
you've got Scarlett Johansson, you've got Jennifer Love Hewitt. Who would be your third choice?
Lyserg is saying Emma Watson. No, that Emma Watson's not my true love.
Yeah, Emma Watson is Varyar's thing.
Ben Affleck is not funny, Artemis Ebb. You guys have been trying to bait me into a Ben Affleck rant all fucking evening, pal. Not falling for it, okay?
As you get into it.
As somebody mentioned earlier, my Ben Affleck rants are special occasions. He's not worth ranting about all the time.
As someone, now I'm a third part. Wow. Just,
What are you talking about?
I was the one who said that it's a special occasion thing.
Well, somebody else said it in chat, too.
That was me.
Oh, well, you said it, so there you go. So who would you
Not
pick?
hearing any answers.
You didn't answer yet.
We're spatting. You're best staying out of this, killer.
Sadly, we're not
I
spatting
know.
about what the answers are because neither one of us has given one yet.
No, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was my teenage crush, not a current one.
All right, so who
Not
are
really
your
that I
other
have a
two?
current crush.
I can help you with this. I can tell you which one's the one.
That's what scares me. You shouldn't be so excited to help me to find out what kind of women I'd like to share my DNA with, and thus have a child to go ahead and name. Come on, who is yours? Tom Hiddleston.
You know, he's sort of my top runner right now. I can't really think of anybody else.
Well, what's his nuts from Doctor Who? The one Doctor Who, like David Tennant.
Yeah, but he's married. Well, then again, so
So are we. What? That obviously has no bearing on this conversation, woman. Spread that DNA. Who would you choose? Manly Stuff is saying a young Audrey Hepburn. Fire is saying that he gets Jennifer Love Hewitt up until she lost the war with gravity.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it was a battle worth watching, Varyar. All right, my top 3 would probably be Scarlett Johansson, Emma Stone, but who would the third be?
You said you had 3. That's where the
There's
3
more than
came
3.
from.
I just have to figure out which one would make the top 3.
I like how there's only one person I can think of at all, and you've got like multitudes. What the crap?
But it's such a special event, spreading my seed around. I've got to find the perfect match here. This requires some thought. You just go around spreading all nimbly bimbly. That's how you get 60 million chuds of kids that you never take care of. Look at Tom Brady. No,
See,
this
Baron, you
takes decent thought here.
Baron, this is what you should have done. It's like, I would have chosen you, Baroness, because, you know, you're famous, too. See? That's what...
Can't use that now.
Nope, you can't.
No, she would be in the top 4. I'm just digging that grave all the more, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to move on now, and I'm going to keep going on with my third one. Oh, honey, who would you choose?
I think we already established that. I'm still trying to think
All
of
right,
a
so
name
Tom
for my
Hiddleston
child.
would be yours.
I'm thinking not Baron would be an excellent name for my child. In fact, we're going to go with that. Tom Hiddleston and me. He'll be cute. He'll actually look kind of like you, but with curlier hair. Same green eyes. Maybe a little beard. But be called not Baron.
Not Baron. Okay. Talk about confusing the kid, though, because he would ask his entire life, am I really Baron's kid? And I'd just look at him and be like, son, maybe. And the fact that I even said son would make him question all the more. And then we'd eat Pop Secret popcorn and he'd be like, Pop Secret, are you my real dad?
Wow. This just went totally Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. All right. Let's just make this easy. It would be Scarlett Johansson, and our child's name would be... Because I already have kids' names picked out, so I don't want to use those. I got to come up with a new one.
The Duke.
No. Baroness's family is a dog named Duke. That's all I would think of.
Oh.
Can't say Baron because I'm already Baron.
Baron Jr.
I don't know. What comes after Baron in like the line of...
Baron's sort of like the end of the titles
Earl?
there.
Call
No,
him
Earls are
Earl.
higher than Barons.
What about Lord?
Lords, I think, are higher.
It's a general.
Let's see.
Not
Peon.
Baroness is Lyserg's answer.
Well,
Not
okay,
Baroness.
first of all, that's cheating because, yeah.
Let's go with...
Okay, now I'm going to have to look this up because I thought Viscount was higher as well.
What would be a name that would really strike fear into the hearts of many? In a good way.
Edward Cullen.
That's not in a good way.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that one.
He'd be popular with the ladies. I don't know why, but he would. He could be the ugliest chud ever, but they would still date him. You know it's true.
I'm trying to think of like a really funny name, but I think I'll just go with a good old Irish name. I just call him Colin. There you go.
Colin, it sounds like Cullen.
Yep, I'd go with Colin.
All right. Last question.
Hannibal. I
changed
wouldn't
my
choose
last-
Hannibal. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I decided to change my last question in the middle of your show, considering what you were talking about. If you were in the new Mortal Kombat game, what would your fatality be?
Ooh.
My fatality?
Yes.
Your killing move to kill your opponent after you've beaten them.
Spider venom.
Yeah, figures. Let's see. I'd have a couple. I would reach into their chest and rip their heart out and then drop kick it.
Nice.
I would... What else would I do? It would be a really cool fatality. I would show them a picture of Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart getting it on, which would explode their head. And then my last one would be...
Yeah, Baron is the end of the land. So it goes Duke, Marquess, Earl, Viscount, and then Baron. Going back to a couple minutes ago, sorry.
Baron, have you seen Mortal Kombat 10 will feature Jason Voorhees? Welcome to 2 hours ago, Artemis. That was our beginning story. This is what happens when you come late. That's what she said. I know wording, folks. Anyway, my last finisher would probably be... I would probably rip their heart out and then make them eat it. Shove it down their throat. And then just kick them in the crotch for good measure. Yeah, that'd be my finisher.
I'm sensing a real Temple of Doom theme here.
Yeah, I was on TV the other day.
Fire's in chat going, I would rip off their arm, shove it up their ass, and then reach down their throat and shake their hand. You guys are a lot more violent than I am.
I would summon Meatwad, and Meatwad would eat them. There you go.
Because
Here I come, bitch! And then he'd eat them or something like that.
is
Excellent.
it because we talk about eating meatwad all the time?
Yes, because it would be the greatest revenge ever. In the Rivalcast Media fighting game, Meatwad and Bat Orc would have to be playable characters. They'd be unlocks.
Oh, God.
That is, if Adult Swim would let us do that. But anyway. We have to come up with our own version of Meatwad.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so that's all 5?
All 5, sir.
Alrighty, well done. Excellent questions. They're getting better and better. Now that you're more brave to ask some.
Yeah.
It's all good.
All right, let's
It's
move
all
this stuff
good.
out of the side. All right.
All right, we need to end because we're 20 minutes over and they want to play PlanetSide. So
Oh, I wanted to talk about my last article.
I told
Too
you
late.
at quarter till that we have 15 minutes before they wanted to play PlanetSide, and no,
But this is about Guinness beer.
you
They like beer.
see
Read
if
it
Varya
fast.
allows it.
Fine.
See if Varya allows it.
Screw it, I'm just going to go through it real quick. Anyway, things you didn't know about Guinness beer. In celebration of St. Patty's Day, what color is it really? It actually is officially a deep ruby red. There are 10 million glasses that are sold
Slow down.
every day. You're the one telling me to go quick.
Slow down is what I'm saying now.
No, you need to go faster.
It was the first ever trademark protected product. The Irish harp, which is the symbol of the Guinness beer, on the label is based on the famous 14th century Irish harp known as the O'Neill or the Brian Burrow harp, which is now preserved in the library of Trinity College, Dublin. Number 5, sold in more than 150 countries. Number 6, there really is an Arthur Guinness Day. In case St. Patrick's Day, and every day, wasn't enough reason to drink a Guinness, the brewery found one more day to celebrate. Arthur Guinness Day, a made-up holiday to celebrate Arthur Guinness, is now another day to listen to live music, party, and drink a Guinness, of course. Number 7, it began as an ale before it became a porter stout. Number 8, the brewery is leased for 9,000 years. Number 9, Guinness is actually the owner of the Guinness Book of World Records. Now, this one's actually kind of interesting. The brewery is also behind the Guinness Book of World Records. In 1954, the head of Guinness, Hugh Beaver, got into an indignant fight with someone and decided to commission an official reference guide to solve all disputes. It was originally a promotional item Guinness gave to bars who stocked the Guinness brew because you never know when an official reference guide could settle a bar fight. And that is it. Those are your fun facts about Guinness beer, the best beer out there, in my personal opinion. All right, everybody. I guess it's time to go ahead and head out like a fetus here because Varya wants to go ahead and get his PlanetSide 2 RCM community gaming thing off the ground, and for whatever reason, we have to accommodate that. So anyway, this Baroness gives me like a what the fuck look. All right, thank you, Killer from McCoy, for coming in for our after hours and asking your excellent 5 questions for the after hours segment.
No problem, sir.
Don't forget, folks, stay tuned for the PlanetSide 2. Also, if you want to go ahead and get involved in the gaming, since it is a community event, I'm sure somebody in chat here on the chat thing for Twitch is going to go ahead and tell you how to do that. To go ahead and join us for some gameplay. Don't forget, we also have Farfield coming up later this evening, and there's also other shows on this wonderful RCM station here on twitch.tv/RivalCast Media. Make sure you check them all out, ranging from all sorts of topics, from general gaming all the way to the World of Warcraft, and specifically the WoW Uncensored Tournament of Epicness going on right now, which you can find out about on rivalcastmedia.com, where you can go ahead and do your vote for which podcast in the WoW world you think is best, because they're all competing for who can be the top spot. It is the ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny, and only one can survive. Who will it be? Thank you very, very much for tuning in. We also have my Let's Play series, Baron Bus, which will take place this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what we're going to be playing yet, but I'm leaning towards finishing off Dying Light since we're almost there. Last week we did Amnesia Machine for Pigs. That should be up on YouTube pretty soon, along with the other episodes of Ghost in the Podcast you can also find on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you all next week. And remember, if anybody asks you if you're a god, say yes.